What's up, guys? Welcome to Kind of Funny Gamescast. I'm Tim Gettys. This is the new face of video games. Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Tim Gettys.
How you doing?
Have you ever hopped into a game, like a quick match of, say, Apex Legends, thinking that I got a thing I got to do soon, and so I'm going to play a quick match. I'm going to drop Spicy, and then you drop Spicy and you live, thinking that you're going to die. I just had one of those moments where right before the show, I'm like, okay, I gotta go do Gamescast, and so I dropped Super Spicy, thinking that it's gonna be like a 2-minute game, right? I'm gonna drop, get kills, gonna be fun. I made it out powerful, had all the weapons, had all the armor.
Hell yeah.
And it was one of those ones where I was like, oh crap, I still gotta go though, and so I had to quickly die.
Oh, you just said, oh, damn.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
I thought it was gonna have a more fun story.
No, I'm just saying, I just didn't want to delay this show 15 minutes because I was about to. I was thinking about it, but
For that win, for that
we would
W,
we would have done it for you. We don't mind.
Yeah.
next time.
It would have been fine. The former informer himself, Imran Khan.
Howdy. I love the idea of trolling people by helping them in games so they have to stay longer because they can't leave.
I like that.
That's the worst.
I like that.
Was it
It's
you
also
I was
the
playing
best.
with? It's like the only time where my teammates were gods. I was like, are you guys for real about to heal me again right now when I'm trying to die?
I love it. I love it. And one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
I'm back, baby.
Fresh out of DICE.
Yeah.
Hosting the DICE Awards for
That's
the
right.
third year?
Fourth
year.
Yeah, it's gone so fast.
Some of those awards were baffling to me when I read them out.
Which
Read
ones?
The Goose
All
Games.
the Goose Games?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a fine game.
My favorite was
Wow.
watching the Twitch chat and Twitter melt down about it, and they're like, "These people voting, these are idiots." I'm like, "These are the people who make your games.
Yeah.
These are them voting on their peers. They think it's the best. What do you want?"
What was that like being there, though? What was the vibe like? Because, from home, it was a shitstorm of, are they fucking serious?
Oh, no, when Untitled Goose Game won Game of the Year, the place went crazy. They were all so happy that it won. They thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I know this.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
This
my
is going to
friends.
be hard to believe, but no one in that room gave a shit what the internet thought. None of the people who made your games were on Twitter or on Twitch being like, "Yo, man, they're pissed."
It's like that thing with the two fists holding hands of irony poisoning and unironically loving something.
Yeah,
It's that's Goose
totally.
Game.
Untitled
right in the
Goose Game right in the middle. Yeah.
Gotta love it,
Yeah,
man.
when
That goose
it
is
won
on the loose.
When it won what character or an achievement in character, when everybody was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, I knew. This is the first year where I knew winners ahead of time. I was like,
yeah?
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. You're mad now. Talk to me in an hour. Also, I'm so not used to having a watch. For the watch bit, I looked at the fake watch wrist I always do when this is the real watch.
There we go. There we go.
Now,
Ladies
if
and
you'll
gentlemen.
excuse me, I'm getting back to looking at my Halo achievements.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how many Halos I've played and what Halos I've played.
Okay. Where you at with that?
It looks like I played Halo 3, Halo 5, Halo 4, and then I have Halo Master Chief Collection trophies, but something's telling me, there's 2. That might be real. No, yeah, I think it's not actually. I bet that's something you did when we did a Let's Play or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
The
But no
enumeration
one,
of
though.
Halo 5 or 3, 5, 4 is a weird order, but sure.
Yeah, well, it's because I had my tabs open that way.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say yes because we had a long conversation. Well, that's interesting. I thought I remember playing Reach and ODST. I don't think I've ever switched my. In those days, could I have played locally on somebody else's and not logged in?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what I did.
Yeah. So, Thursday, you're going to start the fight.
Exactly.
Mr. Shirtless Master Chief himself, Greg Miller.
That is correct. Yeah. We're starting our first full playthrough for Kind of Funny of 2020, and it'll be my first playthrough of Halo Combat Evolved. Yeah, you're gonna be my wingman, right?
I'm going to be your wingman, dude.
Then we got Jack and Alfredo from Achievement Hunter waiting in the wings to shower us with Xbox stuff and nuggets.
All them nugs.
Yeah.
Them sweet, sweet nugs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun time. I'm very excited. Old game. You know what I mean? The shooters have evolved.
Yes.
Combat has evolved even further than it was
I'll tell
then.
you, I played Halo, the first Halo, the campaign, for the first time, literally last year, and I was actually pretty impressed.
It's impressive.
Yeah, I was like, this
I'm
ages
stoked,
pretty
man.
well.
It's been way too long. Way too long. But anyway, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast each and every week right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We get together, talk about video games, all the things that we love about them. We just spent the last couple weeks doing the most iconic games of every console generation for Sega, or not for Sega, that's the one we didn't do, for Nintendo and Xbox and PlayStation. Because I had Sega on the mind. I was thinking, if we were to do that, I don't know the team for that.
I legit thought about it. I was like, what if we did do the iconic Saturn games and Dreamcast and Genesis?
It could be fun.
I
Maybe
couldn't
one
show
day.
up on that one because
Maybe one
Get
day.
me and
It'll
Levi
be Sonic
Buchanan in
for
there.
me.
We'll do it for you.
Could you, who?
Levi Buchanan.
Okay, yeah. What's up with you and Saturn? I don't remember that.
I had a Saturn.
Wow.
I was a Sega kid blindly for forever.
Yeah.
Until the Saturn, that's what broke me. And then when they brought a Dreamcast, I was like, I cannot.
Not today.
I cannot support.
Would you be able to be
I love that Blessing on the lunch ride was talking about playing Sonic Adventure 2.
No,
pretty much
legit.
for the first time, right?
Yeah, Pretty much, yeah, for the first time. I was on sale on Xbox last night, and it was like $5, and I was like, I'll play Sonic Adventure 2 for $5.
And he was like, he's like, wait, is this supposed to be one of the good ones?
yeah, I was like, Tim, on the car ride, I was like, Tim, is Sonic Adventure 2 good? Because playing it, I was like, this is terrible. Like, whenever people insult Sonic games, this must be the one that they played. Because
No.
yeah,
like it's of the 3D Sonic games, that's one of the more well-loved ones.
Oh,
That's
it's
crazy.
definitely one of the most loved. The Adventure series is the most loved 3D
Yes.
games.
that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
Sonic Heroes
most
is better.
loved and good. Different things. Different things.
Okay, I can see that. I can
Yes,
understand because
yes.
I can understand this being like your first 3D Sonic and then falling in love with it. But as far as like the goodness of it, I'm like, dude, every other 3D Sonic game I've played is better than this one.
It was actually an attempt to get right the wrongs of Sonic Adventure 1.
Yeah.
Of like, we're going to make this more level-based, or we're going to actually put more story in. And that's what people wanted at the time. And now you go back to it, it's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is all this
I
stuff?
played some of Sonic Adventure 1 and I already knew that was like not good. But I had the idea in my head that like, oh yeah, people love Sonic Adventure 2, so I'm gonna play it and started playing it. I was like, oh, this ain't the one, Chief.
At the time, all this stuff was amazing and revolutionary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was also telling Tim that I played Sonic Adventure 1 at the demo kiosk of like Best Buy or whatever on the Dreamcast. And I was like, I remember being a kid and being like, this is the future.
This
Whales.
is the future.
Yeah,
the future
whales,
goes fast.
yeah.
It goes fast. You can get the show ad-free and get the exclusive post show by going to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. That's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of people having a lot of fun. These Patreon producers, let me tell you all about them. James Davis, David Mintel, Mohammed, the nanobiologist, Frank Furter, Talia Floyd, Jesus Barrio, Eamon Martin, William A. Nance, Billy Laporta, Michael Bradley, Robin Weiland, Tom Bach, Jordan Luck, Julian Grudidaria, Max A. Blair, Cody Banks, Agent Cody Banks himself.
Hell yeah.
Trent Barry, Jacob Pleak III, Thomas J. Meehan, Sancho West, Sean I., Evan May, Stephen Insler, Elliot Kosh, David Norridge, Ben Woth, Adam Bankhurst, Evan Ballard, Keith Lewis, James Hastings, Quaid Burnett, Casey Kern, Luke Pattinson, Travis Ray, and Joseph O. Youssef. Thank you guys for all the support. You're fantastic. You're amazing. You're great people.
Whoop, 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 woo.
Before we get into the topic, Greg, going back to Halo a bit.
Hey, how you doing?
Where's your head at going into Halo 1 for the
I'm
first
ready
time?
to shoot some stuff.
Yeah?
I know those little purple triangle dudes are going to run at me.
The
but like,
grunts?
I fucking hate them. Just shoot them. You know what I mean?
Hit him and shoot
yeah.
him. You're about to be introduced to one of the greatest weapons in video game history, which is just the pistol. from Halo 1.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Yeah, you
it's
got
only
some-
Halo 1. It's exclusive to Halo 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Being good.
Is this one of the ones I got to charge up? I hate charge up weapons.
Those-
That's always
that's
a
the-
big thing about
When do you
Halo.
get the
Plasma
sword?
weapons.
The swords in 2.
Yeah.
Swords and 2, baby.
I always see that sword and I'm like, it looks like a cool
It's a
sword.
dope sword. Sword might be making an appearance.
We have
on
it.
the
Yeah,
stream.
it's all right. It's all right.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Today's topic, we are doing bets and predictions for the entirety of the next generation.
That's a big.
It's a
that's
big old
gap.
topic. A couple of weeks ago, we did bets and predictions for 2020. This is different. We're looking at PS5. We're looking at the Xbox Series X and Series in general. You know what I mean? Whatever the hell Nintendo got going on. It's going to be a fun
Oh.
time. As if you want. If
Okay.
you want. Hey, we're all here.
Because I
We all
thought
have
about
our
it. And I was
interests.
like, well, let me just stick it to Xbox and PlayStation. But in that case, I might think about the Switch too.
the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Or Switch
Or
Con.
when-
Don't start giving
Two.
away your gold yet.
No, I
buddy.
mean, are we talking about the next generation?
up to you.
You're talking about what's going to happen in this generation.
The
Of
next,
video
this
games.
the
upcoming
next
generation.
7 to 8 years of video games.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Right. But before we get into like our normal go around the table, everybody throw some shit out there stuff, I feel like there's a couple top level things that I want to ask for us to kind of take our bets on. This is our personal bets. Some of this stuff might be updated from things we even predicted a couple weeks ago because things change. Information changes. You know what I mean, Greg?
I do.
Yes.
There's always new information.
So specifically, top level stuff for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Let's start with PlayStation 5. When will the PlayStation 5 be revealed?
Oh.
Revealed.
Revealed. We were all guessing maybe February. It got too close to February.
you say we all.
Some of us were, taking that back. Some of us
is you.
lost
This
some
is you.
pizza bets. Okay? This is me.
You said this, right? This is all you?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was all of us last year, and then it got too close to February, and everyone's like, well, it's not happening in February.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm surprised. We all predicted February because February is a good month for it. Mm-hmm. And they did it with the PS4, and now we're just kind of moving past that. Like, maybe March, maybe. We'll see. But
Because that's the thing, man. They're not at E3.
you're not.
I doubt they're going to want to do it during E E3.
No way.
Right?
It's got to be before E3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say May. May. because we've talked about this before on PSL.
How grain of sand are you getting though? So May.
Oh, do we want to get
Hey,
really
man, let's
specific?
get fucking spicy. All right.
I'm going to throw
Wait for
my
the
first
calendar.
bet out there. It will be a Tuesday. Okay?
Okay.
I'll dial that in. But I'm just letting everyone know I think it'll be a Tuesday.
Okay, that's where we're starting. Oh wow, what an episode you guys are
Yep.
in for.
What? Going around the table, does anyone think it's not May?
I think June. You guys say it has to be
Wow.
before E3. I don't think. Well, let's define what reveal is, because I think they drop a video of YouTube with like, "This is the PS5. Here's a couple of small clips of like Ally running down the field or whatever," and like that's what all we see, and it'll say, "See you in June," and then
So more of a Nintendo Switch type approach.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, here's a video, but then there was that January event later.
yeah, a couple of like nice camera like pans around things. Then before the week before E3, before Microsoft gets on the stage and says their thing, here's all the games they've got. Here's a new Capcom game. Here's a new Sony game. Whatever, all that stuff. That's how they reveal this thing, by stealing thunder and showing that they're the ones that are in charge of the industry.
So, okay, let's take it a step back then. Taking bets here. Will there be a PlayStation 5 event?
Yes.
When you say event, what do you mean?
Like reveal event where there is some form of...
Because I don't think there's going to be a conference. I think what it's going to be is a state of play, but then press go down, similar to what happened with The Last of Us Part 2, where press go down and get to have actual hands-on with it, but then after the state of play, get to actually talk about their impressions and put those articles out there.
To define event then, I'll say with the release date and price.
That I think is going to occur in June. Because it worked out well for them with the PS4 to have that thing around E3 where everyone else gets to reveal their own games too and create a big like picture, a narrative for what that next system is going to be. And for Sony that year, it was like, we have Kingdom Hearts, we got Final Fantasy, we got all that shit that you want to see. Here, like, go ahead and start. We open the pre-orders right now. Go ahead, we'll look at the numbers later. Like, that I think is going to be their main thrust, but I think they're going to show a thing before that of just like dramatic angles and a couple of small clips.
Just the corners of the console.
They
Yeah.
will definitely do the dramatic angles, but it will be teasing an event in. Maybe it'll just, and I don't know, maybe it's just a graphic like they've done, but it'll be an event in May. I think you don't do it during E3. You don't want to get too close to E3. You want everybody living in your shadow, but you want it close enough to E3 that all your partners who are making games and getting ready to show there are down to show shit on your stage.
Yeah.
Also, you're the big dick swing, and it's a huge deal. PlayStation 5, like, it's more than a normal Sony press conference, right? And I do think, I know we've gone back and forth on this on the
Yeah.
shows before. I do think it's a traditional press conference. I do think it is a stage presentation. They're at the Shrine Auditorium. They're at
New York Theater.
yeah, they're at their place, the PlayStation,
Yeah.
the PlayStation concert hall. We've said years, do something there, do something there. Like they're there, and I think it is. Hey, you're all there. Come see it, and afterwards the press goes. Yeah, I think it's live stream. Afterwards, the press goes and plays whatever, tinkers with stuff somewhere.
I think by E3 they will need to have PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 controllers on the show floor for third parties to have demos for games.
That's a
That's a
great
good point.
point. That's a great point.
So they
Imran.
need to have things revealed by then at the latest.
That's a really great point. Fuck.
Tuesday, May 12th. I'm locking down.
I could believe that for the initial thing. For what they're, this is the PlayStation 5. Here's the logo. Here's all that stuff. I think that will then say or further details or price and release date or whatever in 1 month
And then when do you think that would be? During E3?
before E3, the week before E3.
Oh, so like early June.
Yes.
It's like
I-
the week of the second, or the week of the first month.
Before Phil Spencer gets on a stage, and when they have, by that point, I'm sure they will have a decent idea of how much the Xbox will cost. They will have their own pricing and date announcement.
Okay, so I'm putting Tuesday, May 12th. Imran's the week before E3.
Yeah.
Put me down for Tuesday, May 19th.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
And I'm saying I think it's going to be a stream, like a state of play.
State of play.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to put that down. A stream.
Actually, when's Judges Week usually? Because I don't think they would do it during that.
The month before E3 usually.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's May.
Do we know what week it usually happens? Because I don't want to conflict
But-
with that.
I mean, I should know. that
Isn't
off the top of my
Judges
head.
Week not happening?
Ooh.
Because Jeff Keighley usually
Yeah,
organizes
Jeff
it?
Keighley.
Oh, that's true.
Jeff Keighley
But they would
bounce.
still do it, right? They would just have somebody else organize it?
I mean,
I mean,
or the-
Jeff always organizes it. So
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Really? You
I mean,
don't think Judges Week is going to happen?
Third
Last-
parties like it, but if no one's ever organized it, then
Last year, May 13th, that week
Yeah.
was Judges Week.
Okay.
Let me give you the year before that. This exact same week the year before, the 14th. I'm going off the
Okay.
Monday.
I mean, granted, Judges
Then-
Week has gotten a little weird over the last couple of years of like people just kind of pull out and it's
I'm gonna stick
Like,
to May
One before
19th
that
then.
was 15th, so it's
Yeah.
always that middle week.
Gotcha.
of the month.
Yeah, May 19th. That I'm gonna stick to.
So you're going.
So right now,
In your head, is that the week of or the week after?
The week after.
Gotcha.
Judges-
Okay.
Judges
So you're
week.
saying it's the week of the 11th? Yeah, that would.
I got
No, the week
Tuesday,
of the
May
eight-
12th.
The week of the 18th. is what I'm
Imran's the
saying.
week before E3. Bless is Tuesday, May 19th with a state of play.
Yep.
What did you say?
Tuesday, May 12th.
I could see all of those as plausible, honestly.
That's the thing. Is like I think they're all plausible.
I don't have the balls to say whether it'll be a conference or a state of play.
No, you don't know?
It's a bet. Do something.
I think it's a conference for sure. Like
Yeah.
even Nintendo did a conference.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going conference.
We shall see.
I think it's going to be a conference, and I think they're going to say we're going to give 1,000 seats away to PlayStation fans. Like the biggest PlayStation. What if they even use that
You want
conference?
to put
they
that as a bet? No, I'm fucking around.
But like that's a great way to get like a big pot from the audience whenever you say anything. Like
Yeah.
holy shit, it's NAC 3.
PSX style.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people lose their mind for Act 3. They start bowing. He's our god.
Is he? Do we have to acknowledge him as God? I'm saying week of the 11th, which would.
May 11th.
Yeah. Sorry, May. I've been May for a while now. I think it's part of what. See, that's what's fucked up. Is I think it's part of Judges Week, but Judges Week is gone, so it's its own thing now.
That would
'Cause
actually be like a great opportunity for them with
you
Judges
think
Week being
how
gone.
great of an idea? Exactly right. Hey, we have all the judges, the E3 judges, in one area, right? The heads of state from all
Yeah.
these different sites.
No,
Why
like-
wouldn't you want them all to be?
Why would
there?
they care about that, though? Because wouldn't they just fly them out no matter what anyways?
Sure, but think about like again and I'm not even trying to like because we go to Judge Week obviously, so I'm not trying to say like pat us on the back, but like I think it's harder to get Andy McNamara somewhere than it is a reporter from Game Informer, right? Like I
For the
think-
PS5 launch, though? You know what I mean?
yeah, but again, if they're already there, you also have the fact, and you could tell you definitely know this better than I do. Andy McNamara doesn't write that much anymore, so
No, he does not.
He would still bring.
That's
a
why I
press
was there
person.
last week. To write for him, basically.
Yeah, he would bring because he sucks, right? Andy Mac- no, we love you, Andy. We love you. I think, regardless of Andy McNamara being there, this is it's all on Andy McNamara now. I think
Fuck everyone else.
I think it would be the
Now your
idea that
prediction
you
is
would
gonna be there.
there'd be Game Informer reporters there, but you'd also have Andy McNamara there. You'd also have even if Jeff Gerstmann's going to send somebody else to cover it, he'd be there. I think there's part of that you want the heads of state, the people who are in charge of all the sites, to be there on top of their normal staff that I'm sure you're extending invites to too. And I feel like it could easily come in and fill a spot of like what Destiny 2's reveal was, what Call of Duty's reveal is, where we go to that stupid airplane hangar and you know what I mean, where it is like we're doing an offsite big thing that both of those events, right, were offsite big things that were streamed to the general public and somehow had been timed with Judges Week, and they worked out that way. But
I mean,
the fact that Jeff's not going anymore, and I've heard nothing about then what does that do to Judges Week? I don't know.
If there is no Judges Week, like if Sony made a replacement that's just about PS5, it's like, okay, here's the day you spend with the Horizon devs and the
Yeah.
day you spend with like Media
Oh my
Molecule.
God.
Like that would be insane.
That's too
That's
smart.
not
That's not
not
Sony.
bad. That'd be awesome.
That's not Sony at all, but that would be like such an amazing way to introduce that thing of like every outlet in the world would suddenly have an amazing, or not in the world, but like every major outlet would have a PS5 spread the second they're ready to announce it.
So yeah, Greg, what do you got there?
Okay, so I'm saying, yeah, I think it's Thursday, May 14th, the final day of Judges. What would have been Judges Week, because that's where the Destiny thing was, right? And that's definitely where one of the Call of Duties. I remember. I thought I remember those being the big like end caps to it.
One of the last year's Call of Duty was a bit earlier in the week, but yeah.
Shit, fuck. Okay. I'm locking in.
Locking it in?
Wow, fuck,
All right.
am I? Hold on. Let me look at a
When does
preview of
Call of
Judges
Duty usually reveal? And
When it
would they-
reveals is usually
Yeah.
like a month after Judges Week, so not a month after, like right before E3.
Yeah. All right.
Having the reveal at a PS5 event would be pretty cool, and not because the last Call of Duty was revealed with our last generation with the Xbox event
Because
because it was the dog.
I'm
dog
thinking,
dropping.
would
You're
they
right.
want to reveal after the consoles are already revealed, like new consoles? Because the next Call of Duty is obviously going to be on the next gen consoles.
They're not going to reveal.
And I know that's more so dictated by like Call of Duty isn't going to make Sony or Microsoft move when they announce their consoles.
Yeah,
but
also this one has been weird. Like we already have announcements of Xbox Series X and PS5 games. Like there was that thing
That's a
at the
good
Game
point.
Awards. It was like
That's a very
this
good
game's on PS5 too.
yeah, and we know the details of like ray tracing and SSD and like stuff that they can mention in the Call of Duty reveal regarding the new consoles.
Yeah.
The secrecy is less now, which is good in a lot of ways, but also really confusing for deciding this stuff.
For-
Where are we at, Craig? Where's this thought process going?
Destiny 2 reveal was Thursday, June 6th. Wait, no, that's not right. Was that? That can't be right. We were there. Oh, that's like the next chapter of Destiny 2. It's always so hard to fucking
Yeah.
find these kind of things where you're like, I need the reveal, and everybody's like, I don't know what the fuck that is anymore.
Well, he thinks about that. I'm moving on to the next one.
No, let's lock it in. I don't want to jumble it all up. So, shit, fuck.
You got Thursday, May 14th right now.
Yeah, I know. Let's move it to Wednesday, May 13th. Wednesday, May 13th.
All right, you guys are all going hard in May, but
Hey, man, we'll see who wins. You know what I mean? That's the fun thing. Somebody's got to lose. That's how it works, right?
When will the Xbox Series X be revealed? And by revealed, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
E3.
Sunday
we're
of
getting a
E3.
date.
E3.
We're getting
Sunday of
we're
E3.
getting a thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a slam dunk.
They have that show basically to themselves now. They might as well like go big and go hard.
Mm-hmm.
PS5 took like 10 minutes. This one, like,
like we all know.
When will the PS5 be released?
I went into the annals of history here, as I did for this PlayStation 4 reveal event that you're all hung up on, right? Remember, of course, the PlayStation 4 reveal event was on a Wednesday. You were all hung up on Tuesdays, so that's why I defaulted back to that Wednesday.
Tuesday just feels right to me.
Okay, cool, whatever. They don't
It's
want to compete
2020,
with all
man. Things
those
are
new
different.
games, though. You know what I mean?
Things are different. You're
Also,
right.
you wait too long in May, you're up against Fast and Furious Crossroads or whatever. So
Oh, that's a good
Right,
point. That's a very
right,
good
right.
point. Yeah.
So PlayStation 5 release date, I'm saying November 13th, 2020.
Which is a Friday.
Yep.
I think it'll also be a Friday.
Uh-huh.
I'm
What do you think?
I'm going November 20th, that Friday.
Yeah. I was leaning towards the 13th originally.
Yeah.
I'm going earlier, November 6th. I think they made that decision by now, and I think they're thinking, okay, what if production problems cause a thing with coronavirus or whatever, and they have to get another shipment out before Black Friday. That gives them 2 weeks to do so. The less time they have between that and Black Friday, the worse it is for them.
Plus.
I already said 20th, but the only reason I'm going off of that is from history. I feel like last time for PS4 and Xbox, right? It was
PS4 last time around was November 15th, 2013.
15th.
Yep.
Okay, and then Xbox was the week before.
The week after.
The week after. So
November
I have them
22nd.
flipped in my head actually. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case,
Meanwhile, PS3 released on November 17th, 2006. Xbox 360, November 22nd, 2005. My thing is this. I think it's going to be PlayStation 5, November 13th, their traditional release window, right? And I think Xbox usurps them and goes with the 6th. I think Xbox with the Series X takes this because I think Xbox is going for the throat. I think they want to. They don't. It's the whole thing where they said they're not going to be, outplayed in power this time around. I definitely think they don't want to be outplayed in any way. And I think price might be the only thing that might get them hung up.
Having said that, so I'll also add in here, when's the Xbox Series X launching?
so I'm
we can add
I'm
that.
going to switch over my PS5 thing to the 13th.
Coward.
Now that I
You're just going to steal my
now that I
answers.
know. Yeah, I'm stealing Greg's answer.
November 13th? Because I'm thinking that the Xbox Series X is October.
Ooh.
My question is, what Friday of October? How early are we getting? Because something in my balls tells me that it is October 6th. October
Jesus.
10th. October 10th.
Oh, the Saturday.
Saturday?
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah.
October 9th. October 9th.
I could see it. They're being treated non-traditional now.
So, but my thing there is I'm thinking, all right, it's launching, it's an Xbox, we got a Halo. When do we want to get that out there? And for some reason, my balls are telling me the 9th, but my heart is telling me a week after that.
That's when you think Halo comes out? Or you think-
well, both.
Okay.
So that would be I have the 17th there. Is that not right for a Friday?
16th.
Yeah, that's the 16th. The 16th is Friday.
I'm going to go October 16th for the Xbox Series X.
I'm going to go even crazier than you. I'm going to say they're going to go real fucking wild. They're going to do September 17th, which is a
Whoa.
Thursday.
Guys, look under your TV. The Xbox Series X is out now.
So that's
Y'all are
that's a
wild.
Thursday, but it's also the day of Cyberpunk 2077. And they're going to launch with that game with
Y'all
an
are
Xbox
crazy.
One Series X version. Not necessarily bundled in, but saying like, hey, it's fucking better here. We're trying to prove our point. It is better here. play this game here.
It ain't gonna happen, but I love it. I love that. Wait, hold on. What was it you said? September 16th?
17th.
17th. Oh my God. Can you imagine? You'll love to see it.
I love it.
I feel like I
very much
remember
love that.
the wording being holiday 2020 in their reveal.
They're always allowed to change their mind.
Halloween's a holiday.
Yeah.
But September, though.
But they also released the Gears of War in September last year, and that was insane for a lot of reasons. Like, they're warming up more to the summer months than they were before.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick to what I was thinking. I'm going to go the 20th. So that's Friday the 20th of November. That's what I'm going.
Greg Miller.
I was the
Sad.
first one out the gate.
What'd you say?
I said PlayStation 5 November 13th,
And
Xbox Series X November 6th.
Okay, cool. How much will the PlayStation 5 cost?
$500.
$500.
Yeah.
I think
$499.99.
I think right now they're probably between a crossroads between 400 and 500. I would bet they would prefer not to take a loss, but they will if they think Microsoft is going to undercut them. So I think at the end of the day, we'll get a PS4 for $400, but nothing extra beyond just that console. If it were $500, I think they would be like, it comes with 3 months of PS Plus or whatever.
You're
But
saying at launch they'll have the 2 SKUs?
no, I don't think it'll just. I think it will be the one SKU, but I think it'll just be $400 and that's it. Nothing, no like extra bundle
Yeah.
PS Plus or whatever.
They're like,
So
PS
what
Now
did
or
you
anything.
take from the rumors this week about component cost or whatever?
I think they picked it at like $450.
Yeah.
I think
470.
No.
450.
450 was how much it would cost to manufacture the box, and
Yeah.
then it was the argument of how much do you tack on there to try to make something off of it. And 470 seemed to be the going conversation.
right. I think they'll sell it at a loss,
Yeah.
but they'll make it up on PS Plus in the initial few games.
Sure.
Like I
But
think
you think they take it at a loss at that level at 400 or 400 is flat?
yes.
Wow.
It worked out so well for them with the PS4.
But the loss wasn't that much on the PS4, right?
Yeah, because it was a weaker processor,
Yeah,
fairly cheap to actually put in there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a huge loss, but I think this one, since services are such a much bigger deal,
Sure.
that they're going to push PS Now and PS Plus and all that stuff, and probably make it up on like 2 or 3 games.
Okay. Fascinating.
Les and I were talking about this a lot over Games Daily the last couple
Yeah.
weeks, but I feel like no matter what Xbox does, PlayStation's going at 500.
They said the opposite though, right? Like a couple weeks ago, like we're going to look at the competition before we decide the price.
Yeah, no, and I think if Xbox goes 400, I do think they'll go 400, but I don't think Xbox is going to go 400.
To be undercut by 100 is a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal. That's why I think both of them are going to come out at 500, and then Xbox is going to have a second SKU that might go under 400, but I don't think that second SKU is going to make PlayStation reconsider that 500.
I just think PlayStation understands what they have, and that is, the install base of the PS4 and the games, and they're going to have the games. They're going to have the sequels to the games that people care about, and 500 is just not out of this world for a new console. I just think that makes sense for hardware.
I do think Jim Ryan, though, is the current head of PlayStation. He, more than anyone, is very perceptive of how much high prices have hurt that brand. So during the PS3, he had to work to fix that image because it was killing them for most of that generation.
But the thing there for me is I just don't think 500 is that much. 600 is, especially back
Yeah,
then.
and I feel like that was also
for
like
what tech could be.
it was also a competition thing. Like if 360 was also that comparative price, then I think it would have been less of an issue for PS3.
I think it would have still been an issue. Like I just think that was an outrageous price for tech then. We have consoles right now that are $500 with the One X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking to 400, but I think it's not because it costs 400. I think it's because that's what they can sell it at.
Agreed. Yeah. That was what the conversation I was having on the shows this week about the price, right? Of like, even if it is 450 to manufacture, you're like, okay, well then what do they increase it by? And like, okay, so 470 maybe they sell. 470 is such an ugly, not round number
Yes.
that you would go up to 499.99, right? And what I think is fascinating about it is I remember earlier in the conversations, now granted this is all fucking rumor mill, none of it can be traced back to anybody true, right? But like when they're talking about, well, PlayStation's going to be less powerful than the Xbox Series X, but it'll be the cheaper option that way. I think with these rumors, Microsoft's probably breathing a sigh of relief, and I bet that even though it costs them more, I think they're going to take the bigger loss to go down to $499. I think both units are going to be $499.
I agree. So next question is, what's the Xbox Series X cost? And is there other series? And what do they cost?
$499
At launch.
for the Xbox Series X,
Yes.
and then yes, I think there will be another unit at launch.
I say $499, no other unit.
I think Series X comes in at $499. I think there will be another unit within the first couple of months, but that will probably retail for about $300 to $350. But I think right now their Xbox One X is going to be their cheaper SKU.
Do you think with the ones you think in the coming months there'll be this cheaper series? Do you think that's announced at E3 as well, or is E3 just here is the Series X? This is what we're doing.
I don't know, because they've been really weird about it. Like, they announced Series X without really saying what that means.
And then they came back like 2 days later and like, well, that's just one of the model variations. Like,
Yeah.
what? So it's Xbox and it's Series whatever? Okay.
Yeah. The thing is, I can't tell right now, are they being deliberately obtuse?
Dude, we keep saying series, and both of our phones
Oh.
keep freaking out.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that was happening earlier.
Yeah, I mean, PS I Love You, like yesterday was flipping out. Available now, podcast services everywhere.
Yeah.
So funny.
I don't know if they're being obtuse right now on purpose or they're just not ready to talk about it. So if it honestly, E3 is going to be a big reveal event for them because it'll help us know what their thinking is for the future.
Yeah, of course.
So I would bet they do a Series X of 500, but then also bundle it with a year of Game Pass and just get you stuck in that
Totally, get you in the
mentality.
ecosystem. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I think we're getting the Series X 500. I think we're also getting Series S at at 300 or below.
Wow.
I don't know about at below or below, but 300 sounds right. For
I'm
mine.
$299.
For me, I'm still split on what I don't know if it's gonna be called the Series S or whatever. I still feel like the SX branding is somewhat confusing, that they might consider changing it to like Series A or whatever it might be. But I'm split on whether or not it's gonna be like an all digital thing or just a less powerful version of the X or both. Because I feel like depending on how they scale that, they could get away with maybe like somehow lower than 300. But
That's my thing. I think they're gonna.
I think I'm gonna go with 350 for whatever the second model might be, and I'm gonna say that it's gonna be like a. Actually, I'm trying to say whether or not I think it's gonna be all digital, or just less powerful. Both. I'm gonna go.
I mean, if you could make it like largely xCloud dependent and then not worry about the power difference that much.
Yeah.
It's the streaming box, right?
Yeah.
The
Well, I'm not
digital
even thinking of it
streaming
as
box.
the streaming box. I'm thinking of it as like the digital box of like you put this out and you bundle it with Xbox Game Pass and you really push Xbox Game Pass is the way you're going to interact with this thing. Of like, here's this big digital library, and like here's this console that you don't need a disc for because you have this huge library already. Just go at it.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. At E3, they're going to announce the details for the two that are going to be launch day available. Series X at $500, Series S at $100.
No way.
You're such
All
a dumb
digital,
person.
all digital, dude.
Because like
If it's
it's going to be like Chromecast and stuff.
if it's an XCloud machine,
It's-
I can be with
it's
you.
what it's going to be.
I think their low cost option right now is the Xbox One.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is I think that, and that's why I think you don't. Even though it'd be cool to have a cheaper new Xbox Series, whatever you want to call it, I think their whole thing they've been going with is this Xbox ecosystem. And I think for introduction, for first blush, to get people excited for this cool, crazy box that'll run Halo Infinite and make it look amazing, I think you just have the one box. And then, hey, guess what though? All of this is still playable on the Xbox you already have, or possibly in more like, not more likely, that's rude. Possibly that you never bought. Now you have a reason to buy it. You know how good. You've heard how great Game Pass is. You've heard how cool xCloud is. You now see the cool stuff we're doing that still works on that and looks worse. But if you don't believe in us, or you just have your Xbox disconnected, or you never turn it on, we're making it so we're not. Their biggest problem with launching a new generation, and not even that big of a problem, but a problem they have, I think, is distancing themselves and not salting the earth with people who are early adopters or people who adopted in general Xbox One. Because if you bought Xbox One on the promise you were going to have all these awesome exclusives, right? PlayStation had more. That's just math right there, right? And I'm not, but so like I can understand people being like, I love my Xbox, but I never turn it on. So why would I buy another one? Why would I go out and buy this really expensive, crazy one? Now it is that idea of like, no, the platforms are there, the systems are there, the games are coming, if not there at launch. Go ahead and turn it on. And when you do turn it on, you start playing Halo Infinite, and you start having a great time. You start using Game Pass. Hopefully you look at it and you're like, man, this is great. And it kind of looks crappy. So why not go get the new Xbox?
Yeah.
Why not commit to that?
See, I think it's the way that they're going to even have a shot at winning next generation is totally based on the ecosystem, totally based on all that, and it's not going to be about selling the expensive system. That is going to be the more kind of
The
like
premium
the
kind of
premium
experience.
luxury stuff that they want to have as an option.
Yeah.
But I think it is going to be like, yeah, it's playable on all the other Xboxes you have them. But if you aren't in this ecosystem at all, here's $100 option to get in.
Because I think the idea of Xbox One being like the lower tier option for Xbox fans, I feel like the lowest tier option really is like having a PC and playing Xbox games through that, right?
The lowest tier option is having a phone and playing xCloud.
Yeah, that's the thing is like
Yeah.
I don't like I think for them they are looking at giving people the most options as possible to get into their ecosystem and not necessarily relying on a box, which is why I think they'll be okay with releasing multiple boxes at the same time and give you reasons to, you know, just want to jump in, right? And so I'm gonna actually go with $350. So $349.99 for a second Xbox model, and I think it'll be announced at E3. I think Phil Spencer, whoever, will be Phil Spencer, will come out and be like, "Oh yeah, we talked about the Xbox."
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves comes out. And he's
The
like,
system's beautiful.
You like Cyberpunk? You're breathtaking. No, I think Phil Spencer comes out and is like, yeah, we've talked about the Xbox Series X. Here's all the details. Here's the price. But we have one more thing to show you. Here's the Xbox Series S, and they show it off, and it's like, yeah, it's all digital. Still, you know, it's more powerful than the Xbox One. All this stuff, and they kind of they pitch it in a way where it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. And they end with $349.99. And even though, like, you know, I've been kind of going for the idea that Xbox doesn't want to compete with PlayStation. This is a move to compete with PlayStation in the idea that if the PS4 comes out at $500, right? You have the Xbox One X or Xbox Series X that is $500. You have the Xbox Series quote S that is $350. That way they can say they have the most powerful console, right? And also say we have the cheapest console and kind of choke them from both ends in that way.
I think Microsoft is seeing the new generation, the new market as like we've always perceived it as there's a box and the box puts out images to you or whatever. It's like box media out from there. Microsoft is perceiving it as media in center and then goes to all these different devices. They're basically seeing the future console market as Fortnite, because Fortnite is one thing that exists out there and beams to all these different other devices as its own existing ecosystem. So it's hard to say how that's going to work for them, but I do think that they're kind of like they're perceiving where the generation's going right.
Yeah.
It just is the market ready to follow them quite down that path for right now.
It's exciting times, man. What will be the first party launch titles for Xbox?
So we already know Halo Infinite.
Will there be more?
We're guessing Hellblade because they already announced that.
I don't think
I don't think
so.
so.
Launch.
I think that'll be like 2020. What year are we in? 2021.
What year is it? Yeah, no, I wish, but I think
Yeah.
that's just something they have worked.
I don't think there'll be another big
first party
title.
Well, yeah,
Fable
what do you
was
count?
the
What do you count by
conversation
big?
we were
Ooh,
having.
Fable, yeah.
A couple days ago, we were talking about that of will it be launched or not.
Playground,
I don't
right?
think it.
I don't
yeah.
think it'll launch.
I don't think
it'll
it'll
be
be
like
launched.
maybe that's another one that I'd probably say 2021 maybe or 2022.
But what if it launched?
Yeah.
Hear me out. What if it launched?
So let's think about who they.
Give me the pitch on that, Greg.
Halo's a launch title. And
Yeah.
everybody flips the fuck out.
Halo and Fable.
What did I say? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Fable. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
Fable from Playground. How rad
Is
that
that
would be.
too much though?
I think
I
that's
almost think that's
probably-
too much.
yeah,
I
'cause
feel like
they're
it's
too-
better for them to have that like plan of constant content coming. right?
Breadcrumbs, yeah, keep
with
you
Game
excited.
Pass. Keep
Yeah,
you
yeah.
subscribed.
Yeah.
to
Have we
Game
ever had a
Pass.
console launch with two
Bangers.
top tier bangers from first party? Because like the one, I mean, as far as
Mario
like
64 and Pilot Wing?
yeah, I was gonna say like I go to Nintendo, right, and Breath of the Wild, right, came out, but Mario Odyssey wasn't until like a half a year
December.
later,
Yeah.
right? And even for
Or October, rather.
I'm trying to think of what the PS3 launch lineup is. We like looked all this up recently, but it was one of those ones where it's like
Fall, man. Come on. Why,
Yeah.
What else did you need, Bless? Come on, man.
and like what Metal Gear Solid 4 was launch window or launch
No,
year?
it was like
that
2 years
way
later.
out. That was way out.
When did they add trophies to the PS3? Because
They had trophies like several
Way
years
late,
later.
yeah,
To
that is-
MGS4, they added them well post patch.
It was Super Stardust and then Uncharted, which no, Uncharted was already
Was
way, way
MGS
out,
2
way out.
launch window PS2?
It was the first year.
Yeah.
Year
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm mixing up with.
It was December.
Wait, no, it wasn't. Well, I mean, it was in the first year of the system being out, but you
Yes.
figure it launched October 26th, 2000, and then it was November 2001 that
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid 2 came out.
That first year of PS2, like
Jeez.
with all that stuff, because our first holiday was that big banger of Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy X.
Fantavision.
Yeah, it was insane.
Bounce
Just talking about
Fantavision.
Fantavision.
Like it was an insane
Smuggler's
first year
Run.
though. It was probably the best first year I've ever seen for a console. I don't think anyone's ever done anything quite that well since then.
It's the first year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Launch. Not so much. I think it's just gonna be Halo.
I think it'll be first party games, but I don't think they'll be on the level of Halo.
I always forget what's
top tier.
what's the one where
Rise on
Honey
Rome?
I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh.
What am I?
Oh.
That's the new Obsidian game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
The thing
yeah.
they were kicking around for a while. That didn't announce it for X. Everything they've announced for Xbox One, we can assume they're going to be on Xbox
Yeah.
Series X.
Yeah.
But in that respect,
There's also Everwild from Rare.
yeah, I bet Rare has a new game, like
Grounded.
not Everwild, like the kind of game you'd expect from Rare.
At launch.
The
Like a Banjo.
launch window probably, but
I'm saying
yes.
launch.
Launch day. I think
Yeah.
launch day they're not going to want to take away from Halo.
Yeah.
But I think it also
Any disagreement?
No.
I think
mean,
there'll be some third party stuff. Like I
I-
think for sure Avengers and
Yeah.
Cyberpunk will be there.
I think
Yeah,
there'll,
yeah.
there'll be first party stuff, but just not the stuff we'd really think about. Like I could see there being like a, like something of the tier of like Rise Son of Rome, where it's like something that we're not thinking about. Maybe like a new title where it's like, oh yeah, here's a throwaway launch title. I don't want to beat down Rise Son of Rome too much because I know. I don't know anything about Rise Son of Rome.
Actually, let me throw this out there.
Uh-huh.
I bet you Dead Rising 5 published by Microsoft.
I thought about that too. Dead Rising.
You think so?
Oh, you know what?
My problem with Dead Rising 5 is Microsoft, especially with Gears 5 having come out and granted, a lot of people played it or whatever, but no fanfare, I feel, for it. And I know this is subjective, obviously. I feel like this has got to be the generation where they get, like, they have to change the image, right? They have to change the narrative here. I feel like Dead Rising would be so back to the well. Is it gonna be Frank again? Is it gonna, you know what I mean? Like, is it a total reboot and it's totally different and it's like scary or whatever, or is it still just running around the mall fucking people up?
I think if you nail that game, and there's no reason to assume Capcom can't nail it now because they've been really had quite the resurgence the last couple of years.
Yeah.
If you nail that game, it'll remind people why they love the Xbox brand in the first place.
Okay. I think if they went and they did it ground up, remake, whatever you want to, or not, you know what I mean, reboot.
Yeah.
We're going to do something totally different, and it is going to be scarier. Not survival horror, but scarier. It's not going to have that goofy side to it. But even like Dead Rising 4, right? I remember being like, I reviewed a bunch of Dead Rising for IGN, but I remember when Dead Rising 4 was coming out, I was like, oh man, awesome, yeah. And I remember getting into it and like, it totally wasn't Dead Rising. Even.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard. Like
they
bosses
kinda
used to be
lost-
such a bitch.
They lost the point of that series over the years. Of
Oh, totally.
like originally it was just here's a roguelike that with zombies.
Yeah.
Or not a rogue-ish kind of game
Yeah.
with zombies. And then they're like, well, people don't like this part. What if we just exchange this and focus on more wacky stuff? And it just kind of became this Frankenstein creation of like, well, what game is this anymore?
Yeah, it was just a bunch of ideas. And they're like, oh, it's Frank. Everybody wants Frank.
So
why can't I
then
remember Frank's last name?
tweaking it
Frank.
a little bit to instead
can't
of
I
just
remember
first party titles, exclusive.
Well,
titles.
I do think there's gonna be another first party title. Forza Motorsport 8.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
That'll launch with Series X.
I always discount Forza. Frank West, yeah. I always discount Forza like it. They're really
I
great
know, me
games.
too.
And they
Dude,
sell really well. It's
Horizon is probably my favorite exclusive on Xbox. I don't really think about the Forza Motorsport ones, but Forza Horizon.
but they always make it such a big deal. Like, here's the car that we're revealing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Well-
huge deal to card heads because it's like literally the first reveal of that car. It would be
Yeah.
like if we were watching a car thing and like also we have Forza. Like, holy shit, they're revealing a new video game here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go that Halo and Forza are the two exclusives
I can see it.
that Xbox has.
They both complement each other and are not going to cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
Anything else,
And
though?
they need it for the graphics.
Are you adding
Forza.
your Dead Rising?
I'll throw Dead Rising in there. Yeah.
Ballsy, and I like it.
I'm gonna throw something out there. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think there could be a possibility of. Was it this last year that NBA Live didn't come out?
Yes,
because
they canceled it.
They canceled it because of whatever, right?
They were going to go like a free to play kind of thing and didn't pan out. And yeah.
What if and this isn't gonna happen, but what if like Microsoft made a deal with EA to get NBA Live exclusive to that platform?
I don't know.
Just throwing that out. Just
Yeah,
throwing that out.
Because it would piss off
NBA
2K
Live.
so much they wouldn't put 2K on the Xbox.
You think that would happen?
Yes.
That wouldn't happen.
You're forgetting about a time when Sega used to make their own sports games and EA refused to put their sports games on the console.
But you're just cutting off money at that point as 2K. If you got pissed and you didn't put the game out on the console,
It's happened. Like, there's precedent for it is all I'm saying.
that's crazy.
So I have Halo and Forza. Imran has Halo, Forza, and Dead Rising. You have.
Halo and Forza,
Greg
Halo and
has.
Forza.
Okay, cool.
and probably some like Probably some like smaller titles. I can't really predict things that I don't know that exist.
What was the weird loco cycle?
Logo cycle. Yeah.
Oh, that was not coming back. That doesn't play in
How
2020.
the fuck did that happen? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's loco. You know what I mean?
I forget what was the game they did before that.
Cosmic Jumper, something like that.
Was it? There's some.
They did Explosion Man,
That's
the
what-
Stringer.
That's what I'm thinking of. Where do you come down? This is, I don't think it was introduced in predictions for that, but do you think of this Xbox reveal event, they show a Marvel game that's exclusive?
I would want them to.
Yeah.
That's my.
I really hope.
I think they show the Initiatives game regardless of whether it's a
Yeah.
Marvel game or
God,
not.
I can't wait to see what
But
that's all about.
They have to show the initiatives
Do you,
game.
Yeah.
do you think that's just a logo or like
No,
a
I think
name? Or
they-
do you think they have
They'll
like
have
a
something.
they've had a
to
year
show,
and a
right?
half to work on it by now. So like by the time they actually fully staffed up. So I think
that
they
sounds
show
like
whatever.
that
it
sounds
is.
like a logo to me, like a name to me.
I think it'll be more than a logo, but like I don't think it's gonna be anything like. It'll be like what we
Like,
got.
you
from
think like a
Avengers
cinematic?
in the beginning?
CG
What was
trailer?
CG trailer?
the game that just came out that was the shooter? That was the one.
Outriders?
Yeah, Outriders. That's right. It'll be like that, where that trailer. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Outriders. I went and watched the original debut. I'm like, oh, no one, I don't remember this. This thing's running around doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'll be something like that. And I think it's, but I think it's in the same breath as like where Senua's army or whatever.
Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga.
Yeah, where that's at, right? Where I feel like it'll be on a level of that, where it's very much a glimpse of what we're doing or how good it looks, and this is the main character, what we're up to.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's Wolverine, like you said, Tim.
Okay.
Shout out to Drew Murray for having to put up with so many tweets about that and just shrugging.
He
He's
didn't
like,
deny it. He didn't say
I don't know
no.
if you watched the content. I think it was just, hey, everybody's tweeting me. Why?
Okay, same question for PS5. What will be the launch exclusive PS5 titles?
Horizon 1 Dawn.
One Dawn.
Is that what you're going with for the name?
That's not the name, no. It'll be Horizon 2.
First Dawn.
Horizon 2.
I do think it'll be Horizon. I think Last Dawn. Yeah, like it'll be time to. I think it's time for that sequel to be ready to go. And I think with Hulse at the head of Sony Worldwide Studios, he's going to want to show his baby for the last couple of years, and I think it'll probably look amazing.
I can't wait.
What about you,
Right
Bless?
I'm still not sold on the idea that like it's gonna be Horizon. Like I'm not sold that there's gonna be like a knockout, like one of those ones that's gonna be ready at launch.
I think there has to be this gen.
Does there have to be though?
I think
like,
going
can they
up,
not just, like,
going up
announce,
against
like-
Halo, like when there is this question of like losing the momentum, I really think there needs to be a huge Sony game of consequence this holiday.
I do think Sony also knows that their first party is their biggest asset. And they have to push something huge at launch to show that, yeah, no, we get it. You want the single player narrative prestige games. We're going to have one of those.
But I don't know if that has to come out at launch though. Like I feel like they could announce those things, right? They can announce them for launch window or like how long does launch window last? Because
It used to be a month, but now it's exploded
when
to
I-
like 6 months,
yeah,
7
Yeah,
when
months.
I,
six
when I
months,
say
yeah.
I'm thinking
But
of like
remember when
spring- the next
Nintendo
spring.
totally abused it for Wii U? Where they're like, it's a launch window. It was like a year and a half later. They're still trying to tell us games were like launch
Yeah,
window.
because when I say launch window, I mean like 2021 also. But I think they could announce Horizon for spring 2021 and Spider-Man 2 for 2021, 2022. Maybe say 2021, then delay to 2022, right? And then just say the words God of War 2 and not give us any more information, and people will get the message. And then they
Yeah.
could just do they could do like pretty much the traditional like launch lineup that is filled with fine to good games.
I feel like there's going to be a title to sell the system that people are going to buy that day when people are also considering buying the Xbox Series X or the cheaper one, whatever it is. And I think that of the big ones, it's not going to be Spider-Man and it's not going to be God of War.
Yeah.
So I think Horizon's the only one that fits.
Are we including titles we think are exclusive, not necessarily like from
Yes.
Sony?
It's just exclusive.
I
from
think
us.
Street Fighter 6.
Ooh, I like that.
Because
I like
so
that.
there's a thing with Capcom Cup this year where they said people who win this year are not necessarily guaranteed placement next year. Usually when they say that, there is something up. So I would assume that means there's a new Street Fighter revision or a new game coming.
I think they've revisioned themselves out. At
Yeah,
this point, right?
they like the championship edition. They've said is probably the last one.
Yeah. So right now we have Greg Horizon 2, me Horizon 2, Imran Horizon 2, and Street Fighter 6. Blessing.
Man, I want to do research.
I want to say like, God, what was their name? Blue Point's game.
Yep.
Oh,
yes,
but-
that's right.
Oh,
like
you
it's
know
hard
what?
to say what
Yeah.
that is. Like,
You can say Blue Points game.
Yeah, Blue Point's game I think is fair. I don't think that'll be launched.
I don't either.
I
but I think
it'll
it's
be
going to be
close.
revealed. It'll be revealed.
It'll be
at
revealed
this
at the event, yes, but it won't be.
I still think
launch
it's
title.
Demons. I think, with all my heart, it's Demon Souls.
I'm gonna say.
And do you think it's a launch title?
I think launch window,
Okay, but not launch day.
not launch day.
Okay.
Put me down for a Blue Points title also. Oh, and then Resogun, that studio, Housemark. I think Housemark's
Their
gonna be-
crazy
Yeah.
thing they've been talking about.
Yeah, the thing they've been
The
talking
Battle
about.
Royale or something?
No, they
Well,
they
they
walked
did it.
away from that.
Okay,
They
yeah,
put up a whole
right.
post of
Yes,
like, hey,
yes,
the whole
you're right.
team's transitioning to this crazy thing we're doing with a partner for something coming up soon.
I think Housemark's game is gonna be there.
I
Because
think
they're working on a quote AAA game, right?
Yeah.
we still don't know how remasters are going to work, but if they do work the traditional way, I expect Last of Us and Death Stranding will be there day one.
Yeah. So then, final say is here. Launch day for PlayStation. Greg Horizon 2. Tim Horizon 2. Imran Horizon 2 and Street Fighter 6. Blessing Blue Points game and Housemark game.
Sorry, I'm looking through a list of PlayStation games right now.
Do you think that Ape Escape thing they've been teasing is this generation or next?
They've been teasing it in Ape Escape.
They
Oh,
opened
you
up the
mean- okay.
Twitter account and like they've been just making weird tweets from it since then.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I
Those
don't
apes.
know.
Let them do what they're doing.
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale 2.
God, why is Games Radar so slow on mobile?
Calling you out, Games Radar.
Yeah, Games Radar.
Get it together.
Then the next question to think about, guys. What console will outsell the other in 2020?
God, that's actually part of my
But what
actual
about-
predictions.
2024.
So like,
Okay, so I'm gonna bust out one of the ones I wrote down. Let me see where it is.
Like, will it change?
So, part of I had this written down as multiple part prediction, but the first part was that at the PlayStation 5 will outsell Xbox in the beginning of the generation. However, by the end, Xbox will have caught up in terms of console sales.
Caught up in what regard? Like surpassed or just be there? It's competitive.
Competitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like Sony has won more generations than they've lost. Like their only real missteps have been in the handheld arena. I could see, unless the market changes dramatically, Sony is going to come out consistently on top. But I think it will be more competitive than people think, especially because we don't know what the definition of success is for the next generation. I don't think it's going to be most units sold.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be like who's
Active users.
yeah, monthly active users is going to be
Yeah.
the big thing.
I think
somebody
that
said that recently, right, in an interview. I think a PlayStation.
I think it was
person
Phil.
said that.
Phil
Probably
said
Phil,
I think
yeah.
it
Was it
Phil
Phil?
Because he was like saying like Amazon and Google are a big company. He meant when cloud streaming, but I think that's the larger context is
applicable,
there are more things at play here than just who has the most boxes and the most houses.
I think it's easy to say PlayStation 5 will outsell the series of Xbox.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't necessarily mean that Xbox loses next generation.
Yeah. I think
I agree.
when it comes down to what are third parties making the most money on, it will be extremely competitive.
I do think that PlayStation 5 wins. I think it. I mean, again, I think this whole what is winning is going to continue to be a conversation, but I do think it's going to outsell Xbox again. I don't think Xbox cares necessarily because again, what we're talking about, it is about getting you to Game Pass. It is about getting you to that. I do think they make up a lot of ground in that regard. I do think their monthly active subscriber users, whatever they're going to fucking throw around, is going to be super impressive. And I do think that leads to a really interesting question of what next gen looks like, right? Like what is the plan in 7 years? You know what I mean? When we're at 2028, what are we talking about?
7 years ago, we were talking about our consoles doomed, or like, is anyone really going to want to do the video games anymore when there's Netflix? And now Netflix is like, do we really want to do stuff anymore when there's Fortnite?
Yeah.
So it's an open question of what next 7 years will look like and what's going to happen after that.
The final question I had was, will there be a next gen after this?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll look non-traditional. If there's even like,
Let me rephrase that. Will there be a PlayStation 6?
Most definitely. I'm more concerned, will there
Yes.
be an Xbox Series X2 or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it? Will there
I'm
be an
with that.
Xbox 2070?
No.
I think there will definitely be a thing with a GPU and a processor underneath a TV. Whether that's the only way you can access those games is a totally different question.
I'm
And
going to
what's
say
more important?
there will not be a PlayStation 6. It will not be called PlayStation 6.
What do you think it's going to be called?
PlayStation.
I think at that point it would just be
We're just getting away from numbers. Are we going to just calling it PlayStation?
yep.
Do you think?
And I
so
think
do you
at that point it's PlayStation given into the service stuff.
So yeah, I was going to say
Learning
at that point,
from
you think-
whatever, not just the mistakes. Learning from Xbox the next gen
See, I'm-
and applying.
I don't even think it's mistakes,
this.
right? I
Well,
think
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
good- Yeah,
not mistakes, just learning
I'm,
from them.
I'm still at the place that I don't know how that can happen unless we transition to a place where we're doing console streaming and we are stuck with the same box forever. But at a certain point, if if this battle continues of technology and being able to make a box more powerful and then cutting off boxes at a certain point, then like I don't think you can just call something a PlayStation, because 10 years later, are you still going to call it a PlayStation if it can't play the PlayStation's games, or if the old PlayStation can't play the new PlayStation's games? Like, does that make sense?
I think it's
because like with phones, right? We still have names,
numbers and things attached to it.
Because we have to know like at what point do things get cut off.
Yeah.
PlayStation parentheses 2021 or whatever they call it.
I think
that's just the same thing though.
Yeah,
Is that
but
not what we're doing right now?
But I'm just saying this. It's not going to be 6.
Mm-hmm.
And like PlayStation's obviously up to this point had a very rigid structure of it.
I mean, that's kind of where Microsoft is going. They're transitioning that weird way of like, yeah, it's just call it the Xbox.
Or
Just
the
we have a
Xbox,
series, whatever. Like they're just model names. That's kind of what Apple did. I remember, I thought it was so insane when they said, okay, last year's was the iPad. This is the iPad 2013. Like, what are you doing? It should have a number. It should be like people are gonna be so confused, and like no one was confused. They just bought the new thing.
Yeah. All right, now let's get into some. Oh, first, I want to tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Honey. Online shopping is supposed to be easy, so why is it so hard to find coupon codes that actually work? Thanks to Honey, it doesn't have to be. And I know this very well. Me and Kevin have been using this thing for almost a decade, where all it is an extension in your browser that you install once, and it will automatically find you the best deals on whatever it is you're shopping for. It knows, like, it checks the sites you're looking at, it finds you the deals, you click through, you just apply them, you're saving money. Kind of Funny has saved thousands of dollars using Honey. We all just installed it in every computer we have here, never even need to think about it. It just happens automatically. It's so great. When you check out, this little box drops down and all you have to do is click apply coupons, wait a few seconds for it to scan for every promo code on the internet, then you watch the prices drop. In addition to that, while it's scanning, it only takes like 5 seconds. But you see this cute little guy dancing? I enjoy it quite a lot, but the only thing I enjoy more than that is all the money that I'm saving. Let's see. Kevin recently bought some Harry Potter sheets, and he saved 20% thanks to Honey. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. It's free to use and installs in just 2 clicks. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/kinda. That's joinhoney.com/kinda. It could not be more easy to save money on things that you're already buying on all of your favorite websites. Over 30,000 websites. Wow. joinhoney.com/kinda. Next up, shout out to Quip. We've been talking about them forever, man. Quip, they make these toothbrushes. They're fantastic. They send you the toothpaste on a 3-month interval every time that you need it. You don't even need to think anymore. Fresh to your door, you get a fresh brush, you get a fresh battery to put in that thing. 2-minute counters. Every 30 seconds, you know when to change quadrants in your mouth to make sure you're getting a nice, even, clean. That's the thing, is when it comes to brushing your teeth, the most important thing is just good habits. And this thing definitely makes it easier to get in a good rhythm, stay in good habits. I've been doing it for a long time, and my teeth have never looked better. You can join over 3 million healthy mouths and get Quip today, starting at $25. If you go to getquip.com/KF right now, you'll get your first refill pack free. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/KF. That's GETQUIP.com/KF. Quip, the good habits company. Finally, shout out to Upstart. As most of us have found out the hard way, getting into debt, it's easy. Getting out, now that's hard, especially if your credit score isn't great. Thankfully now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows that you are more than just your credit score. They offer smarter interest rates to help you pay off high interest credit card debt. One of my best friends going through a lot of financial issues right now. He looked into Upstart. It consolidated everything, all of his problems into one problem, which made it a lot easier to solve that one problem. They went beyond the traditional credit score when assessing credit worthiness, and they rewarded him based on his education and job history in the form of a smarter rate, and they could do that for you as well. They believe you're more than just your credit score. They really believe in you as a person, a good person. You can free yourself from the burden of high interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. You can see why Upstart's ranked #1 in the category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot. And hurry to upstart.com/kinda to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/kinda. But now,
Hold on. No. Before you get out of the sponsor, let me go fill waters.
Yeah.
fill your waters.
The Canary Crows.
The Canary does grow. Oh, thank you.
Do you want some?
I'm good.
You have a giant jug empty. Your jug's empty.
It's an empty jug. It's an empty jug. I'm excited about this. I want to hear what wacky ass shit you guys can bring to the table
man.
for our predictions going into this to the next generation.
I
we
almost-
got Nick Scarpino.
I almost said the words.
No,
Yeah,
we'll keep this here.
Are we
Nick,
keeping this?
Hey, what's going on?
what's your predictions for the next generation? of
Oh
video
my
games?
god, I think that PS5 is going to dominate, mostly because I cannot remember the name of what the Xbox is. Yeah.
Series X.
I think the Series X is going to be, I think it's got a lot of catching up to do after this console life cycle. I think Stadia, never going to be a thing. Just straight up never going to be a thing. And I'm pinning 100% of my money on Amazon Game Studios. I think Amazon's just going to take it out. They're going to take it out for a drive and never bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also
What
locating
does
my
that
arms
mean?
with Jergens. I have no idea. That's as much information as I know about
Because
the
you
video game
started
industry.
saying it sounded good about Amazon, but then it sounded like you're taking it out back.
I don't know. What's y'all's predictions? Tim, what do you got? PS5?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be weird. I think PS5 wins, technically, quote unquote, but I think that Xbox, they're playing different games now.
How long is
Yeah.
it? How long is the next console life cycle going to be? That's my question.
Well, that's the thing is I think that Xbox is going to last forever.
You think it's just keep going?
Yeah.
This one was supposed to be short, and this one lasted 7 years.
7's kind of the average, though, isn't it?
Yeah, there,
Wasn't PS2 like 7 years?
PS2 was 2001 to 2006, so it was
Yeah.
even shorter.
Oh, it was shorter.
Yeah, or 2000 2006. But yeah, it's.
I
This,
think it's usually like 6-7 years. I feel like.
I know when this one first launched, people were like, "Okay, this is going to be shorter because these consoles are not as powerful or whatever." And then the Pro and Xbox One X came out and made them last a bit
Kinda
longer.
extended it a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That makes sense.
because like the 360 generation lasted way too fucking long, and everyone hated that.
That
Like, all
was
the-
that the one that was like 7 years?
that one was 2005 to 2013.
No, it's too long.
It's 8 years.
It's too
Thank
long.
you,
Sorry,
sir.
Greg. They voted. I'm taking over your place now. Yeah.
I almost said the words Bloodborne 2.
Yeah.
It's like it's for like launch, but
I just don't think it's a launch game.
I don't
you
think
think we're getting Demon Souls.
I think that's the Blue
Point game?
remake.
Okay.
And so I think you let them breathe.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
the same way as I mean.
Yeah,
this-
if we get
are
Demon
we back
Souls,
on the show
then
now?
definitely.
Yeah.
We're back on the show. Or did we ever leave the show? Doesn't matter. I also don't think at this PlayStation reveal event for PlayStation 5, you don't get. I don't think you even get a whisper of God of War 2. Outside of perhaps maybe our friends at Sony Santa Monica are still working on this. And I also don't think you get anything Spider-Man.
Really?
I just why play those like you.
I think if it's 500,
the headline is the PlayStation 5.
I think
and it is very much what is imminent right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I don't know. I feel, and I get that this is, history has never proven what I'm saying correct here. It's like we get all hyped up of they're going to have all this stuff. That's just not how things work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think things are changing. And I think that you need to kind of sell an idea to sell the console.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
before it was kind of like, oh yeah, at E3 games are going to be announced. We're going to play them in the fall, and there's like a rhythm to things. That rhythm's out the window. I think now it's, hey, here's why you need to buy a PlayStation 5. All the reasons that are coming up. It's like even though we already know that these games exist are gonna exist, them telling us it, I think, really makes people go, I need to pre-order this. I might as well have it now to play all these other
Yeah.
games coming out this
Like-
year
like
because
we-
I'm going to play.
It's like we talk about with Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3, that original reveal, it sold a vision for the future. Of like,
Yeah.
we know that this is not just going to be a PS3 thing again.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you what the next couple of years are going to look like so you can get excited right now.
Yeah, I'm convinced that if it's going to be $500, that they're going to try and sell us as hard as possible. And so I could easily see them saying the words God of War and Spider-Man if they hit that price. If they somehow take it down to 400 and want to keep their cards to their chest, then I can see that also.
Now it's time to get into some fun predictions. Greg,
Yeah, but
set us off.
Halo Infinite's Metacritic is 90 or above on December 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so, man.
They're definitely trying with this one. Like, they have said, I mean, like, not like they weren't trying before, but
Fuck, shit out Halo 5. Who cares?
they themselves have. They've been like, yeah, we know those last ones are fucked up. We're gonna really like revolutionize Halo this time. What that means, who knows? But I bet they're doing.
Have they said that though, or are we just all hoping that they said that?
They've apologized a lot, and it's hard to tell which 343 apology
that's
is
true.
like.
The apology is one thing, and I know that, but it's like, have they said this is going to revolutionize Halo, or are we all just looking at it like
I
want to
say
better?
Phil Spencer has used those words.
Yeah, I really hope, man. Imran,
I think we will see a Switch 2 or Switch Pro within the next 2 years. Just completely speculation. But like I think as the technology improves for engines to get more refined, there's only so much more overhead they have to work with in the Switch. And Nintendo themselves knows that. And they're trying to work on a thing or that will at least give third parties a bit more room to work with when porting down PS5 and Xbox Series X games.
When you say Switch Pro, do you mean Switch like a Switch 2 or like a mid-generation upgrade?
I mean, it's going to be based on the architecture from the Switch. It'll still be, because it's not like mobile technology has improved that much, but it's improved enough that new NVIDIA chips have been made and new revisions of the existing Switch chips exist that they can make that faster with less heat and make it work in a handheld like space, handheld shelf, without having to compromise too much about the aesthetic quality of that system.
So I buy that, and I think a lot of that will be due to third-party ports and wanting them to run better and stuff. What do you think that means for first-party titles? Looking back at the 3DS, they had the new 3DS, that there was a couple titles that were only playable there, but really there weren't many of those, and they weren't ever Mario, right? Do you think with the Switch Pro it would be?
I think Breath of the Wild 2 is being made for that. Like, I think there are definitely games that are coming for, like, that Nintendo themselves needs more power to work with. So, like, theoretically, if they made a new Mario Kart, like, it would be so cool that they have this much more power to play with, and I think they themselves, like, no, what if we put in more players? What if we, like, online infrastructure and netcode are also dependent on processors. So if they get better access to those and better aspects of those, they can make better versions of those kind of things. I think for Nintendo, a lot of times we think they don't really use all the overhead they do have, but more power is going to be beneficial to them as well. And things like Unreal Engine 4, for example, it took until about last year for that to really start working on Switch when Fortnite started becoming a big thing on it. If you can start using those engines with their own capabilities and own talents on the Switch much more easily, then you wouldn't have to rely so much on your own engines that are break apart and have those other problems. That works well for them too.
Bless.
Microsoft buys Don't Nod Entertainment. Life is Strange 3 is announced as an Xbox exclusive. It's my first prediction. I have this one because I think I have a few points. And I wrote like down a whole freaking like essay here, but I'm gonna try and go through it quickly. But I think if you look at the history of episodic games, right, I feel like those games don't necessarily turn out well from a like sales perspective.
Yeah.
Right. You see Telltale Games shut down. You see IO Interactive, they get let go from WB Games because Hitman didn't work well as an episodic game, and they ended up making Hitman 2, and they put that all together as one release and released it that way.
They've said they might go back to episodic next one.
And I kind of hope they do, because I think episodic actually worked better for that game gameplay wise.
But like Don't Nod's a good example. Life is Strange 2 was an amazing game and nobody paid any attention to it.
And nobody paid attention to it. If you look at the history of Don't Nod in Microsoft, right, like Life is Strange 2 is on Xbox Game Pass. They came out episode by episode on Xbox Game Pass. And then also Tell Me Why, their game that's coming up this year, is Xbox exclusive. And so they have precedent of working with Xbox. And then Xbox Game Pass, I think, would be a perfect, like, it would benefit so well from having episodic games on there from Don't Nod Entertainment. And so I think it's a perfect storm, right? Don't Nod is an independent studio. I'm sure they would like the security, and Xbox is obviously like looking to buy up studios. And so I can see it being announced at E3, and then I don't know if they would have the Life is Strange 3 trailer there, but I could see them announcing it at E3 of like, oh yeah, you've seen us acquire studios. We've acquired Ninja Theory. We've acquired this. We've acquired that. Also, we're adding one more studio to the Xbox Game Studios family, and then they bust out Don't Nod.
It's good.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good prediction. I honestly expect that to happen now.
Yeah.
Close, but no cigar. Blessing. What will happen is that Don't Nod loves their independent lifestyle now. They like being out there making their games. They're still partnering up. Square's still paying the bills. They're still doing Life is Strange, rather doing their stuff. They're doing the new one we're talking about, right? Microsoft picks up Deck 9.
Oh.
Life is Strange Before the Storm. They did the prequel to Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Yeah, they haven't announced a new project since then, have they?
Exactly, right? We know Clements got hired, is working over there on something. I legitimately don't know. I wouldn't make a prediction if I knew anything. And Clements and I just bullshit when we talk. It's not anything about games. And I think the fact, too, and this is very, like, maybe it all blows my face. I think that on top of what I'm talking about, Deck Nine being more open to this because they're a younger studio that are, I think they need funding more than a Life is Strange developer Don't Nod needs. I think the fact that Don't Nod being in France works against them to some extent, right? Whereas these guys are in Colorado, which is closer to Seattle, which is another thing of like keeping that Xbox studio on the coast tight. You have everybody there to help these young bucks, right, as they're trying to learn what they're doing and get over there and whatever they're working on.
I could see it.
So Capcom and Marvel totally fucked up Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. But that's not going to be the end, obviously. But I do think that it will not be Marvel vs. Capcom. I think it'll just be a Marvel fighting game
That'd be
made
cool.
by
Yeah.
Capcom.
Yeah. That way Marvel, like, there's some of the complaints about Infinite where, like, Marvel had such a heavy hand in it that they couldn't show in the trailers Marvel characters being beaten up by Street Fighter characters because Marvel didn't want to show that. So, like, they're not going to object to Marvel characters beating up Marvel characters because that's the entire game.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that happening.
And I think that going into this new next phase or next couple phases of MCU, introducing the X-Men, introducing Fantastic Four, there's a lot more synergy in Marvel than there has been in a decade at this point. Because that game not featuring any mutants, weird as hell, right? They'll obviously return for this. But yeah, full on Marvel vs. Capcom style fighting game, but it'll just be Marvel made by Capcom.
What if it's Marvel versus something else?
I don't think it would be.
Marvel versus Hanna-Barbera? You don't think it's gonna?
I think it'll be a strictly Marvel versus game where it's like they have enough characters that they're trying to use. There's like the movies have made even the obscure characters not obscure. So, Greg.
Thinking, which one I want to pull out. We've all been so hung up on Stadia, but the real streaming race in 5 years is xCloud, Amazon, and I think PlayStation's in the rear doing whatever they're trying to pull together. What was Gaikai is PlayStation now, trying to get that built in people's minds as a streaming service. I think Stadia is still there, but I think it's so distant that I think at that point, did I say 5 years? Just make sure I'm on the same page.
Yes.
This is 5 years from now. This is 2025, right? It's xCloud, it's Amazon, and a third, and I think they're neck and neck going at it really hard, right? And I think PlayStation's behind them, and then I think Stadia's further behind them.
But they still exist.
Still exist, and that's the thing is that I think Stadia's pulled it together in terms of like, hey, this is a thing. I don't think that YouTube integration they were showing of clicking on the thing and what your favorite stream, that never came to be, I don't think. I think at some point in these 5 years, they've had to cut back on programs and things to get where they need to be. But games are releasing digitally on them, well, obviously digitally, but you know what I mean? Like day and date, I guess is a better way to put it.
Physical Stadia games would be a pretty funny
That's
thing.
the future. Yeah, they're starting Stadia stops where you can come buy your physical Stadia games.
Yeah, the Amazon part's interesting to me. What does that look like?
They had like so much promise for a while because they got Clint Hawking, they got what was her name, Kim Swift from Portal, like they had a bunch of big names to make games for them, and then they never did anything. And
Yeah, this isn't them making games. This is them
Yeah.
doing the digital
Stream.
stuff.
yeah, but like they had to supply stuff for a while. They were very much into video games for a while,
Yep.
and now seem to slowly be backing off from it. Or not slowly, absurdly fast.
Yeah.
Backing off from it. I think to append to what Greg just said, I think Valve is going to be next in the actual streaming space. But they're going to do it in such a way that, like, we don't have another streaming store. We just have Steam still. You buy a game, it's on your PC, it's on streaming as well. All the games you already own are also going to be streamable.
Wow. Power move.
I think the more pie in the sky version of that is I think that only comes about when Google gives up on Stadia and sells their Stadia backbone to Valve.
Oh shoot.
But I think Valve does it either way, but I think that's the way I most suspect it will happen.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I was like, how do they make that work? But that would be a great way to make it work. I was thinking that like Steam and Nvidia somehow shake hands, do like a gang handshake or like a Naruto.
You see, like Blizzard was like no to their
Naruto,
Nvidia streaming.
one of the two.
yeah.
Blizzard said no to Nvidia streaming. Like they've turned that functionality off.
Yeah.
So like, yeah,
they said yes for the beta.
for the beta,
For the beta.
right.
Yeah.
and then there was a misunderstanding, quote unquote.
But like with Valve, I think like everything on our store is just it's a thing you opt into when they put a game on Steam, they have to allow streaming as well.
But then is that a service you pay for in addition to? Or is it just free?
I would
Because
guess
I feel like you have to pay something for that.
they've done pretty much everything else free. So and plus it's a value add for them if they start getting to a more of a war with Epic Games Store. Like, yeah, we take more of a cut, but look where this cut's going.
Bless.
So I had this argument on Games Daily with Tim, and mainly Barrett, actually. Barrett was the main person pushing it back against it, but I've thought about it over the last few days, and now I'm pretty confident in it. Grand Theft Auto 5 will be re-released in some new edition for the PS5 and Xbox Series X, whether that's a graphical overhaul or, get hype, an addition with new single-player content akin to Persona 5 Royal.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
It is at this point the most profitable piece of media of all time.
Yes, and I think for the new consoles, they can repackage it in a certain way where they could sell just a bunch of copies, especially if they did do single-player DLC, which I know sounds like a joke, but for them, for Rockstar, right, they've been making new content for that game for the last 7 years. And, you know, in online, right, there are new cutscenes, new characters, new voice-acted lines, new missions, new assets, new vehicles, right? They have all the things that they would put into a new single-player campaign. And so I think for them, if they wanted to put together, like, an 8-hour thing where it's GTA 5, I don't know, man, like Michael's Last Heist or something like that, right? Package
Kevin's
like
Blackjack.
that, yeah, and sell it for the PS5 and Xbox Series X, I think they could sell just a ridiculous amount of copies and make a ridiculous amount of money for something that they wouldn't actually put that much money into.
I am not completely convinced that what you're describing is not GTA 6. That it's GTA Online ported forward with some single-player content with a new story.
That would be upsetting.
It
would be very
But
upsetting.
like, if you're gonna follow the money, then like that's what you want to do. Is you want to make just put the money maker on the new systems and then throw in some new content here and like because Hauser's gone now. Who's writing? Does anyone still have the drive to make a full single-player game there anymore? We don't know.
They could hire somebody.
They could, but like, do they run the studio? Like,
That's a good
They
point.
have to have people there, right? That was the whole thing. It's like, you know, I remember
had
when
a team,
Christian
right? Yeah.
Cantamesa came through either for our stuff. Or, yeah, it was for our stuff way
Yeah.
back in the day. And he
Long
had
time
written
ago.
Red Dead Redemption, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, I mean, don't get me wrong.
I'm sure people there want to do it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Hauser
yeah.
was the one going like, no, this has to be a 30-hour epic that we're writing from
Okay.
scratch.
Okay.
Is the next GTA going to be a 30-hour epic, or is it going to be single-player content that also exists alongside GTA Online?
See, my thing is, and I guess this works for and against, right? They made Red Dead Redemption 2, which is like an epic, which does have so much focus on the single player in that world and those characters, right? But Dan Houser since then has left. Like, what's funny what happened back then?
Coming over there,
I don't know, those were
dropping ass.
Did he pass gas back there? Because that's what I thought I heard.
No, I was going every time you were saying Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, okay. I was like, Kevin is never one to openly fart in the middle of his show.
I heard the same thing, and I was like,
They're stinkers is what I was saying.
I mean, I don't disagree. I didn't love Red Dead
There's
Redemption 2.
30 million units are selling stinkers, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't love those games, but
yeah.
they do extremely well.
Yeah, like I love GTA. Red Dead Redemption 2, I didn't love, but I don't think they're totally like I don't think they would go forward with the idea that we're putting online first, so much so that we are going to let it work to the detriment of the single player. Right, like
I agree.
I could see why they would make that conclusion and be like, oh, actually, you know what? Screw single player. GTA 6 is online only. I could see if, like in terms of like the numbers and the money coming in, why they could go that direction. But I don't think as a studio they would do that, because I think that would then sour GTA for a lot of people. Maybe not enough that it would matter, but I feel like enough people would not like that they would be like, oh, actually no, let's put in some work for a single player.
Yeah.
They got it, because that is so definitively GTA, right? Right? Tell me it's not dead. Because
It's
GTA
not
like-
dead. It's
it's-
definitely
I don't
not
think it's dead,
We're
but I
getting a GTA 6. It's going to be proper.
We could
It's
be
going to
denial,
have a
though.
massive epic
Vice City.
single
Like,
player.
Consider the
Yeah.
fact that like we went from them making 3 expansions of GTA 4 to making 0 for GTA 5.
3
Yeah.
games a generation to DLC packs to just GTA
Just
5
online.
to missing a
Like this whole generation
Yeah.
for a GTA
Red Dead
has
is the
just
only
been-
game.
It's just been online for
yeah.
GTA, right? And yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 has been the only game.
And they appended an online mode that is almost exactly like GTA
Yeah.
Online to that.
But I think the thing about single player for GTA though is that I think single player gets the game into people's hands. Like at least I don't know if I can say that anymore though. Now I think about it, because
I
that
think
game is
there'll be
still selling
single-
copies now.
I think there will be single
Yeah.
player, but is it the question is it the same level that people will expect from it? That's where I think it gets iffy.
I mean,
Think it
I
will
think the idea of Dan Houser leaving can be kind of exciting for single player GTA, because I think that can then freshen it up, because Rockstar Games over the last however many years has been kind of samey in terms of
Honestly, I think they looked at America as like, how do we write satire about this anymore?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like a lot of their games are about the pursuit of happiness and like toxic masculinity and like a lot of the same themes over and over again, to the point where now, yeah, if you want to make a GTA 6 and make it like the other ones, it's like, how do you do that when
90s baby time travel.
I mean, you could time travel and do. I mean, I guess the other GTA games were in the 90s and 70s and 80s and stuff, but you could. Dude, what if you had a GTA in the future?
Cyberpunk beat
Grand
him
Theft
to it, man.
2077.
No.
There we go. So here's my thing. I'm going to jump off your prediction, Bless.
All
And
right.
also based on the things we've been talking about, is I think that we will not see remasters in the next generation in the way that we did this generation. If you own the games on the PlayStation's going to be pushing hard. Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, all of that. But it will just be there's a patch. If you have that game, you can play it on this, and it's the best place to play it. You can download the ray tracing or the whatever the fuck it is for each game, whether it's the 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, or hey, we'll at least make sure we hit 30 frames per second, whatever it is, right? It'll be the best place to play, and I think that it's going to be free.
That is my assumption of why so many recent games have, not why they were delayed, but in addition to the delays, they're also doing this work of like going, okay, well, actually we can, now that the last one's
Let's
delayed,
prep
we
for
have
next
time.
gen.
Yeah.
And Cyberpunk, Avengers, I think there is just going to be
Watch Dogs,
it's going to be very seamless going into the next. And I think that, to go to your GTA example, that's not to say they won't sell GTA 5 in a PS5 box, but I do think that you won't need to buy that if you have the PS4 version.
They sell Fallout 3 in an Xbox One box.
Yeah, they have for Xbox One and Xbox 360 games now. You can buy them physically, and they'll have both the logos on there.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
See? Interesting. And we can talk about, can't wait to see what the next Xbox box looks like. It's going to be real telling. But yeah, I just think that the remasters are going to be part of the sell and part of the thing that's going to make people just want to buy the PS5 or the fancier Xbox. But you're not going to need to rebuy GTA 5.
To bring this back to the conversation we were having earlier about launch titles and like PlayStation 5 competing against Halo Infinite and Xbox One X, I think what you're saying could benefit PlayStation in a lot of ways if they don't have a Horizon at launch, right? I think them marketing the PS5 with Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, like I feel like them having those in the commercials could also be a big selling point for getting a PS5 at launch, despite those also being PS4 games.
Yeah. See, I think you need both, though. Here's the
Yeah.
marquee, and here's all the other reasons. Greg.
Tim Schafer leaves Double Fine Productions this generation.
Whoa!
Oh,
Yeah.
I can see
I
it.
could see
Now,
it.
question.
Retiring is the
Retiring
probably word.
or...
No.
It's working for Stadia.
I mean, I think he'll want to get back. It's a weird one. I do think that Xbox is doing everything right so far. It seems in terms of how they run their first party or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think that Tim's gonna ship Psychonauts 2. Maybe do something else there. Maybe stay on a little bit longer. I obviously, full disclosure, we know Tim, but I've not had this conversation with Tim. I'm just fucking spitballing. And I think that at some point, whether it's Phil Spencer or something, leadership change in there or whatever, maybe they do want them to work on something. Maybe Psychonauts doesn't deliver in the way, I don't know what anybody's expectations are for Psychonauts 2.
Probably not super high.
That's the thing, right? Is like I feel like there's a conversation somewhere in there that is what Tim and Double Fine have been able to do since 2000, right? For basically 20 years.
Yeah.
March their own beat, do their own thing, rely on their audience. I think somewhere in there, Xbox wants them to do something else too. And maybe it's not even that bad. Maybe it is that just, I mean, obviously, Tim started the company, so him getting bought by Microsoft, I'm sure he got quite a good payout of that, right? Not to mention he's Tim fucking Schafer. I think he's just like, you know what? I'm going to fuck off and maybe take time off, but then come back and do a very small thing, do mobile games, do very small indie games. Keep going that way.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Honestly, it always kind of was weird to me that he let Double Fine be bought by
Yeah.
Microsoft, because they are almost the exact opposite of what Microsoft has always stood for. It always seemed to me Tim Schafer, he would like to make money from his games.
Yeah.
But the more important thing for him is that he keeps his friends employed.
Yeah. And that's
And-
what you have to wonder. You say it's crazy that they got bought, but you have to wonder if that was part of it, right? And just the idea of like, I think when we talk about, when the Kickstarter happened, right? Like that, they needed that to happen. Like Double Fine as a studio, right? And so like, imagine that. I'm not saying they're broke by any stretch of the imagination. They publish a bunch of games, they do a bunch of great stuff, but like, there has to be that looking at the the bank account and the spreadsheets and what's going on all the time, running your office from San Francisco, which is so expensive, making games.
You have a nice office too.
Exactly, making in a great part of town, making games that are art projects, right? That people aren't going to speak to the mass audience, that are going to speak like. At some point, that's got to get tiring of always being worried about, like, can I pay everybody's bills? Like, how long can we go? Like, if this, I mean, Psychonauts was supposed to be out last year, right? So, like,
And I doubt Rad paid the bills for a while.
exactly. And that's the thing, right? Is like, that would even be the thing, too. Even if Tim left and didn't want to make games anymore, which I sincerely doubt, you know, I think he'll be making games till he's dead. But if it was, I think it would be more of a, like, I'm gonna help you publish games, right? I'm gonna make up some kind of independent publishing label that you can come to me with your independent game and we can get going that way.
I would not be surprised if at some point in the next couple of years, Microsoft knocks on their door and says, hey, we need you guys to start making money. Like, whatever bangers you've got, make them games as a service. Do something long term. Because the idea of just throwing things against the wall, if they make money, they're great. If they don't, like, Game Pass is what complicates all this, because Double Fine itself seems very well suited for Game Pass. It's a question of, like, how long is Microsoft going to let them be that?
Yeah,
Just that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're misreading it. Maybe Microsoft knows what they're buying and is happy what they're doing and is never going to have this conversation with them. But I feel, and I even saying the conversation makes it feel like, oh, they're ruining what they are, when in reality they're just like, well, let us help you. You know what I mean? Like, this idea is not going to sell more than 100,000 copies. Like, maybe we should do something differently.
Give me Broken Age 2.
I never played the original. I should do that.
Dude,
at
I
some
really
point.
liked Broken Age. Yeah.
I backed it, but
But you back to it, you never played it?
never played it. Backstarted. I think we will get this generation a Resident Evil 4 remake.
Oh,
I can see it.
Yeah, baby.
I hope so.
I would not. I think it's probably, if it's not in development now, it'll probably be in development after they see RE3 sales. But like, I think they know that it's probably the hardest one to remake because it's one, the most modern one.
Yeah.
Two, also one of the best games of all time. Period. So touching that in any way and changing it up is going to be incredibly difficult.
I think they could do it.
I think so too. I think they probably want to get some of the old people, like, talk to them and see, like, what do you think we should do? Like, if they're not talking to Kamiya and Mikami about this kind of game, like, whether they're not hiring them or not, but like, hey, what do you think a new Resident Evil 4 looks like? Then they need to be. But I do think that game will exist. I think they know it's going to have to blow people's minds graphically. Because Resident Evil 4 still honestly really holds up graphically.
And gameplay wise.
Yeah. Like, you look at that game, it's like, okay, Leon's animation, like, reloading that rifle is kind of not matched today. So I think they do it, but I think they're very, very careful about it. So I don't think we see it, like, next year. I think we see it 2 to 3 years from now. And I think both Sony and Microsoft are going to be like, fuck yeah, that's our thing. We're going to try and do all the marketing rights for this thing.
I like it. I want it. Bless.
So this is the prediction that I kind of, I said half it earlier, but I'm going to give the full thing now, right? By the end of the generation, 2 things will happen. So PlayStation 5 will outsell Xbox in the beginning of the gen. However, at the end, Xbox will have caught up in terms of competing with active users. I've changed that from console sales now to active users because I think you guys make a good point. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, Xbox isn't really trying to compete in that realm. They're trying to get people in their ecosystem. So across Xbox on PC, Xbox on Series, Xbox on One X, Xbox on Switch, or whatever the feature might be, right? I think the Xbox ecosystem will be able to compete with the PlayStation ecosystem in terms of active users. So that's number 1. And then number 2, second half, Ninja Theory will be widely regarded as Xbox's best first-party game studio.
So, like, they're Naughty Dog.
Yes, they're like their premier game studio.
I mean, that's what they were bought in the first place, right? Like, to be a prestige, like, narrative game studio for them.
Yeah, and I think, like, I talked about this in the post-show for our Xbox Iconic podcast with Ryan McCaffrey and Ray Narvaez, but, like, Ninja Theory is so good at being different and innovative in ways that I feel like we don't necessarily think of, right? And so we look at Hellblade and the ways in which they use that technology, being like binaural audio and like whatchamacallit, FMV or whatever, right? In order to convey this idea of, you know, Senua going through psychosis and hearing voices and seeing things that aren't there and doing all this stuff, right? I feel like I feel like Hellblade is such an underrated game as far as like the cool things that it's doing. And then when you look at the trailer for Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, or you look at Project Mara and what they kind of talk about as far as using their technology in order to do other things when it comes to mental health, right? I feel like there's a lot there that Ninja Theory is doing that is going to be insane to look at. Like by the time it's passed, and we look back and we're like, oh snap! Like Ninja Theory is doing something different, and Bleeding Edge. Not to hate on Bleeding Edge, but I think Ninja Theory is gonna be looked at as like that studio that Xbox has.
I think that we see that.
Yeah.
The next Mario Kart will be the highest selling Switch game when all is said and done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get another one, like I've been saying a lot. I do think it's going to be more of a Nintendo Kart thing, but I still think it's going to be called Mario Kart for the brand recognition. And I think that with whatever the install base of the Switch ends up being, I think that it's going to be similar to how Breath of the Wild was when the Switch first came out. Of everyone that has one gets one. The adoption rate is going to be insane.
Do you think the problem with that, though, is the people who go like, well, I already have Mario Kart 8. Why do I need a new one?
Because I think that it's going to speak to a lot of people that already have Mario Kart 8 and haven't bought anything else on the Switch and are just like, oh, well, you know what? I want to give this thing another shot. I want to like try something different. Maybe the people that did just buy a couple games along the way. And I think that that's a good entry point to get back in. And like so many people that did play Mario Kart 8 will just want more. You know what I mean? And want a more modern experience, having seen Smash with DLC and all that stuff. And I think that I want some DLC.
Yeah, I was gonna say the challenge I think might be that, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being out from the beginning of the Switch gives it more time on it, but then also it coming out at the beginning of the Switch allows it to not really have much competition. But I like the idea of Nintendo Kart because I feel like that would sell gangbusters. Like having all the different franchises in there, similar to Smash.
I think they still do a light touch with it, like they did with the 8. Of like, okay, well here's Link because Link is the next big thing for Nintendo. So maybe they're like, okay, here's Samus. Here's what's another crossover game? Because like Animal Crossing and Zelda make a whole lot of sense.
Donkey
but
Kong. Oh no, he's already in Mario Kart.
Game with crossover appeal.
Here's the thing, though. Like
Trainer.
Smash is so unique in that it has the hype. It has the hype cycle. It has all that stuff that for the last 3 versions of this game, it's like different versions of, hey, we're going to announce characters slowly over time or whatever. But we're now at this place where we know we're getting at least 6 more times that anytime a Nintendo Direct pops up, there is that question of, what's the fake out? Like, are we going to see what we think is one trailer and it ends up being a Smash character?
Right.
Nintendo must want that again. And it's like, you can do that with Mario Kart. It's like, you can imagine if Mario Kart was this thing where it's like, third-party characters can pop into this thing and like whatever the hell they want to do, just keep adding and adding and adding. That's so exciting to like hardcore gamers and to just randos that are just like, I love Mario Kart and you're telling me that I can, whatever character I also love, I can play there too. Love it. Let's fucking go, baby. Greg Miller.
This one breaks my heart. I want you to know, all right?
Oh no. Media Molecule closes down.
No. I think they're okay, but it's similar in a vein of like you never know what's happening. There will be no PlayStation VR 2.
Oh my God, this is coming from Greg. I swear to God, 2 weeks ago you were saying different. I like this, Greg Miller. Coming in.
As we forecast and think and make your saucy predictions, right? It's just that thing of I could see it happening. I could see it not happening, I should say. Definitely, I hope it happens.
Haven't they already said that they're
They said that
working on it?
PlayStation VR works on PlayStation 5.
There have
I
been,
want to
like,
say they said they were
rumors.
going to be like, yeah, maybe it's just rumors.
I think there's rumors or reports that came out this week of like them saying that PSVR is being worked on, like PSVR 2 is being worked on
For the record,
after the PS5 launch.
1,000% it's being worked on right now. That I don't argue at all. That's not what I'm arguing. I think that, and I know that we've talked about it before, and what I always applaud PlayStation with PlayStation VR V1, right, was this conversation with Shu at GDC, 2015, 2016, with us at Patreon. This is Gen 1. This is not us launching the PlayStation 4. This is us launching the PlayStation, and we are in this for the long haul, and da-da-da-da. And I think that was true then. I think it's been true most, if not all of the way. I think they're honest. That's what this was the start of. I think they're working on a PlayStation VR 2 unit right now, thinking that is what they're working on. But I wouldn't be surprised because we're talking about the soonest it releasing 2021. Because again, my whole prediction's been get PlayStation 5 out. You got to worry about them paying out of their pocket that $500 right there. You can't put out at the same time, so you have to give it breathing space. And I think as we continue to see this industry continue to evolve and change and get crazier and crazier, at some point you're looking at that going like, well, it seems like the real race now isn't VR like we thought it was when we entered into this. It is streaming. So why are we now trying to split the audience and get them to go buy that when we want them just to buy this? Their PlayStation VR stuff works. The games we have in works right now will continue to work, but unless Half-Life Alyx comes out and sets VR on another plane of existence, right? is what is the return on investment on this, especially when you're right now PlayStation 4, the console is everywhere, right? That is setting all these records. And what is they know it better than we do, right? What are the actual numbers at right now of the adoption rate of PlayStation VR?
I think what hurts them with PlayStation VR is at the beginning they were our lowest price entry into the VR market. For consumers to be able to get into VR, all you need was a PS4 and that headset for like $200.
Yep.
It was not expensive. Now they're not. The Oculus Quest is a better thing to buy.
Oculus Quest is a better VR unit in every way.
Yeah.
Period.
So if they can't beat that, that is a problem for them.
Exactly.
That said, it also did extraordinarily well for them.
Yep.
So if it is a differentiator for them between that
Now,
and
when
the
you
Xbox.
say extraordinarily well, do you mean for what they predicted, or do you mean in the grand scheme of things?
In the grand
'Cause-
scheme of things,
Okay.
for a VR headset, that thing is sold extremely well.
Sure.
But in like as between them and the Series X is never going to do their own headset.
Yep.
Microsoft has said that's not our thing.
Yep.
We may take like Rift like things into the
Phil
Xbox-
Spencer,
yeah.
right? His direct quote, and it was, I think, Gamertag Radio, right? Was the thing of like, hey, man, we hope we could have to do that one day. We hope VR is so popular one day we have to make our own headset and worry about it. But we don't see that right now as the future, and that's not what we're worried
Yeah.
about.
So right now it's a big differentiator. If you do want a VR headset attached to your console, this is what's there. So like it'll have the power of the PS5 plus your headset. That's what's holding the Quest back, because you can make that argument if you want to differentiate it between the Quest and the PSVR. You can say like, well, these are games, but you'll never be able to improve this thing. Developers aren't going to put all their best efforts on the external GPU because there is none.
Yeah.
That said, again, Facebook is extremely aggressive about the Quest to the point where I think you might be right. Sony could just go, let's cut our losses. Let's put VR games out, but they only work with the old one.
Yeah. Well, and and I mean, even again, to your point, which is so eloquently put, Imran, is the fact that when PlayStation launched, it was the cheapest, right? It was easy. As we always said over and over again, and as Lauren Lanning, again, predicted, I think, that at same GDC, right? When I think Colin asked him, who's going to win in the VR wars? He's like, PlayStation VR. And we're all like, what? And he's like, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be easy. Why wouldn't you want that? It's the idea that it was always good enough. And to your point that you've already made right here, Quest is better than good enough. And even if you were to put out the higher end headset for PlayStation, I think for so many people, it would be good enough. Oh yeah, but I hate having the tether and I hate having the wire. Like it's night and day. We've always talked about how the PlayStation VR headset, how good that feels. What the form factor is so comfortable, right? As soon as I had Quest and started using Quest, the first time I put PlayStation VR back on, it felt like I was putting a bucket on my head that was tied to the couch. And it's no different, but it's now that I've tasted this, it's like, oh my God, this doesn't feel good anymore. And I think if it was, no, PlayStation VR 2's here, it's still tethered, but you can immediately be like, oh, okay.
And it has to be tethered, otherwise it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You need a thing in there to like wireless is gonna make people sick. So, yeah, I could see them just rolling with the current PlayStation headset for as long as they can.
And again, I don't think this isn't that I'm saying PlayStation VR is a failure. I'm not saying I like it any less. I'm not saying I don't want a PlayStation VR 2 any less. I want all of that. All of that stands true. I hope it's there. I hope we continue to get stuff. I can't wait for fucking Iron Man. But I just think that taking a step back and looking at the timeline in the fight they're about to fight, especially as early as they're about to fight it, I just don't know if that's going to be one of the real marching orders, or if it's another, not in a success rate, but if it's another Vita in terms of like, that's a secondary front for a very specific PlayStation audience that we don't necessarily have to worry about.
Yeah.
Imran.
I think in a last-ditch effort to get the Star Wars license renewed, EA is going to put out a shitload of Star Wars games in the next couple of years. Or like a new Jedi Fallen Order, a new first-person shooter.
That's the Old Republic.
Yeah, I can see
Exclusive
them,
to Microsoft.
I can see them doing a new Knights of the Old Republic with BioWare. Like,
Cabinet.
and I think they will get it renewed. I think Disney just wants to see numbers.
Exclusive.
And like Jedi Fallen Order did really good numbers, and even at the last financial thing, Andrew Wilson was like, "Yeah, now we see the value of prestige games." They had some real fucking weird name for it, but it's like single player narrative games. They see the value of it now. So I think we're probably going to see a new Fallen Order.
Will we get a new episode 1 racer?
I hope we get a new episode of Racer. I hope we get I'm sure we get new Switch games too. I think they'll finally break that dam down and start
Really?
playing.
You think they'll do a new Switch game?
I don't think they'll be like.
It'll be a small game.
Yeah, it'll probably be
How
like
small?
those brawler type games from Phantom Menace and stuff like that. I think we'll get those. I think we'll get a new VR Star Wars
Power
game.
Battles?
Do you think it'll be Watto small?
I think it'll be Watto. I think they'll
Thank
put
you,
the
man.
Watto game
Thank
on
you.
Switch.
That's what I was teeing up and I didn't get any love.
Oh, I blocked that extra life out of my mind. But yeah,
So did
I think they will put out a bunch of new Star Wars games next couple of years, and then Disney will be like, all right, sure, you guys have been doing fine. Here's another 10 years for you.
Plus.
Bluepoint develops Shadow of the Colossus 2.
Jesus.
Yeah, Ueda's not there anymore.
No way in hell. I love it. I want it. There's no way.
I don't even believe it.
I don't even think
but
the remake sold well enough for them to be like, let's
Yeah.
go do this again.
It'd be a great feather in their cap, though.
Sure.
A real big feather.
Think about it. Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Last of Us Part 3, God of War, Thor's Revenge, Shadow of the Colossus 2,
Oh my God, I love it.
developed by Blue Point.
The Colossi Strike Back.
You're bold,
That's all I
Yes.
got.
and I appreciate you.
I have no backing. I have no the only backing I have for that is the fact that they developed the Shadow Colossus remakes, and so they have like the assets and all that stuff, right? It sucks that Ueda probably wouldn't be a part of it if Blue Point's doing it, but Sony owns that IP, so what you gonna do?
I wonder
What
what
you
Ueda's.
gonna do?
Do you think Sony's gonna get Ueda back for a game?
Ueda is working at he has a studio.
Yeah, he has his own studio. Do you think it's Sony just be like,
I don't think
let's
so.
pay for you to make a game for us?
I don't think that's.
I don't
modern
think
Sony.
so, but man, I would love it.
Because he seemingly did not have a good time working on The Last Guardian.
No.
Granted, that was 10 years. Like, I imagine that if you're working on any game for a decade, you're like, no, fuck this, I'm out. But
Yeah. So jumping off that a little bit, I have two predictions that are completely unrelated, but there is something that bridges the gap just a little bit. Look at that, everybody. It's the bridge of the.
Whoa.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
Looks dirty.
I want to talk Disney. All
Okay.
right. Our boy John Drake over there making money moves, making them big
I make
bad
money moves.
moves. We will see a Disney game that is as good for a Disney property, and I mean that in terms of like the game will be as good and it'll sell well, it'll be good in all the ways as Spider-Man. As in
okay.
Spider-Man.
So you're saying
I don't
like-
know who's making it.
like an
Frozen? I'm not saying
It could be
Frozen.
a Frozen game. It
Mickey,
could be a Disney
Mickey,
Princess
whoever.
game.
Gotcha,
it could
gotcha,
be
gotcha.
Mickey. It could be anything. A Disney property, like a core Disney property game, and it will be as good as Spider-Man.
I mean, like, they announced it, or not didn't announce, but there were rumors of an Aladdin sequel last week. You could make a really fucking good game out of Aladdin. Like that live action Aladdin thing.
It's called Prince of Persia.
I don't think
Why
this
not,
counts.
honestly?
Yeah, because Disney Core. No, I'll save it for the next one. Thanks.
So my other bit of that is like not related, but semi kinda is. In an opposite way, cool. Disney's making games. The next Kingdom Hearts, the next core Kingdom Hearts game, will be legitimately good. And
I already don't believe it. I already don't believe it.
You
Go ahead
lost
and
me.
mark that one wrong for.
will feature. It'll be legitimately good because it'll have a focus, and that focus will not be Disney stuff. It will be
Hanna-Barbera.
what it will be Final Fantasy versus 13 based.
Did you ever get to the end of the DLC?
I just watched
Oh
the
yeah,
YouTube
yeah, okay,
video.
yeah. Nomura is weirdly obsessed with that game.
It's fucking happening, guys, and it's gonna be dope. And it's going to actually make some type of sense if you just played that game. All the Kingdom Hearts shit, all the other stuff, it's no. This is just gonna be like, yo, we're telling a cool story. It's gonna be a little bit darker, and I feel like they'll be able to nail the gameplay. It's not gonna be developed over 2,000 millennia. It'll be a proper game that has a proper development cycle and a much narrow scope of story. And I think that all that will work to its benefit. That'll make it a good game.
I kind of worry, like, Square Enix overextending themselves a little bit on Final Fantasy stuff. I think they're going to limit themselves this generation to just the main series and the remakes. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I would be surprised if they do finish the remake series within the generation, but I think they're planning to. But those
they
are
will.
such huge projects. I think those are the only two things
Kingdom
they're going to
Hearts
focus
sells
on.
so well.
Kingdom Hearts does sell. I think they'll still do Kingdom Hearts games. I just don't think it'll have more of a Final Fantasy focus. I think they'll probably do the opposite of like, we'll probably turn the dial a little bit towards Final Fantasy again because people complain so much, but it's not going to be back to the old days.
But to be clear, I don't think it's gearing it towards Final Fantasy. I think it's taking the ideas of what Final Fantasy versus 13 would have been,
yeah.
and it's Kingdom Hearts characters.
Okay.
It is all the OCs of Kingdom Hearts, even new ones, like original characters in Kingdom Hearts, and like they're gonna make their own thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What do you think it's called? Kingdom Hearts versus Final Fantasy.
That sounds like a.
No.
I thought you were gonna say versus 13. I was like, that sounds like a Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts versus
Greg
Versus
this morning,
13, that's
Greg
a
this
good
morning
point.
like misspoke and said Kingdom Hearts 2 Point Hospital, and I was like, that sounds like a real game.
Sounds like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kingdom Fantasy, Final Hearts. Those all sound like real things that could happen.
Yeah, I don't think Final Fantasy at all would be involved.
No? Okay,
like,
it'll
because it's missing the
won't be a
point. I'm just
crossover.
saying it's based on Final Fantasy
Fantasy
versus 13 trailers that existed at one point, and I want it. Imran, I want it bad. Greg,
Yeah.
final prediction.
Final prediction? You put this in my head, but I'm going to piggyback off it. This generation, we get another Simpsons hit and run.
Oh my
back, baby. We're
Oh,
back.
man.
Liam Robertson, on Twitter out there, Dr. Cupcake, I think it is.
Sure.
Does a lot of great journalism, a lot of like deep dives talking to developers and stuff. And what?
Just I like that. Like Dr. Cupcake does a lot of great
He
journalism.
does. He's dope. He's dope. And he's always getting like really cool inside scoops.
Sure, no, I believe you.
on,
I
like,
believe you.
Very obscure
Yeah.
things or like
Is he-
things that
did
like
you know gaming? Does he do that stuff, or am I making that
he
up?
used to at least.
He
I don't know if
does
he's-
some videos here and there.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
But he, like, I saw him recently tweeting about like he has all this info on like what Simpsons Hit and Run 2 could have been.
Yeah.
and also I'm like, oh, it's so
Oh.
interesting. And like that game sold so well that like it would have made sense. But
Yeah.
man, that's a bold prediction that they'd bring it back now. You think that that's more likely than a remaster?
I didn't say that. That is the rock in the hard place of is it a remake, is it a remaster, is it a new game? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they could do SpongeBob Rehydrated, they for sure can
And
do
that's my
Simpsons
thing,
Hit and Run.
right? Where I feel like there's definitely enough love for that, right? Outside of even just Cool Greg, where people know that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
for sure be excited about it.
Has Liam talked about what he knows about Simpsons Hit and Run?
I don't want to
Was
speak
it
out
not-
of turn. Go check him out on Twitter and see that
I was
stuff.
gonna say
Because that's
I feel like
not.
there might have
I
been
know a
video.
lot about Simpsons Hit and Run too, because it was one of the guys who made the Ghostbusters game worked on that. And when we were on the panel at Ghostbusters Fan Fest, we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not that surprising. Hey, we're gonna make more
Yeah.
Simpsons Hit and Run. We're gonna drive around.
So you
Springfield.
think that regardless of whether it's remastered or not, your prediction is Simpsons
I'm
Hit
saying
and
there will
Run
be a
2.
Simpsons Hit and Run. Oh, I would say 2. There will
okay.
be a
Gotcha.
Simpsons Hit and Run game in the next 8 years.
So there is on Did You Know Gaming, the YouTube channel, a month ago they uploaded a video that's called "The Simpsons Hit and Run Lost Sequel plus Fun Facts, Game History Secrets." That's their like
That's
video
probably
series. That is probably Liam.
Yes.
Imran.
I think so. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot sold really well. It has outsold Xenoverse. I think it's outsold sold faster than Xenoverse 2 already, which was thus far their best-selling Dragon Ball game.
Wow,
It's
that's
really
wild.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh man.
What about with fighters?
Fighters sold really well too. It just didn't outsell Xenoverse as far as I know.
Cool.
I think Bandai Namco knows they fucked up last year with how bad Jump Force was. I think they're going to get that license back, but I think they're going to combine it with the good quality fighting games Arc System Works makes. So they will make a Jump Force whatever, but a 2D fighter. So we're going to have that awesome looking 2D fighter from Arc System Works, who has, I've showed you on Twitter, they revamped their graphical technique. So now they're like doing a lot more animation tweening between the two.
Guilty Gear.
It looks incredible.
It looks fucking. I
It
just
looks
like that's
insane.
not even next gen. That's like the
even Dragon Ball
future.
Fighters looks insane. So I
Yeah.
can't imagine how if you put Yu Hakusho in their hands, right? How good could they make Yusuke look doing the
Yeah.
spirit gun?
Yusuke was in Jump Force, right?
He was, yeah.
Okay, so like you take
And
all
Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah, you take all those
Fucking
characters,
Yugi, dude.
you make it like you make the face of that like Goku versus Naruto on the cover or something like that. You make it if you make that a good game, I bet it sells fucking gangbusters.
Oh, this is a great idea.
Jump Fighters.
This is
Oh.
a fantastic idea. It needs a better name than that, though.
It'll probably be that. I mean, they're not good at names.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Dragon
Yep.
Ball Fighters is called Dragon Ball.
What would you
Fighters.
guys? What would you guys call? What would you guys call if it's like okay, cool? Yeah, but Dragon Ball Fighters, I feel like that having the Z like that. I feel
It should have been called Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and just separate the Z from the fighter. Like Fighters was one word, and the Z was connected to the word fighter, and kind of ruined it.
Yeah. Then they're
True,
like, no,
but it's
actually
close
one
enough
word.
that at least we get the
We get what
Dragon
it
Ball
is.
Z in
Yeah.
there. I
Yes.
feel like that. Like, cool. I get what this is. Whereas Xenoverse, whatever the fuck, it's like it's way too complicated. Jump Force, I feel like doesn't have that kind of brand recognition of hey, here's a bunch of anime together. At least on
Yeah.
the level of like really, really, really hidden. What would you call it?
I mean, the best name was Jump Superstar for that 3DS game. Or
Yeah.
DS game.
What's it called? All Stars Victory Versus Plus or whatever. Or are you talking about a different thing?
That's the same game, I think. It was
Yeah.
Jump Superstars for the first one,
Not a
Jump
great
Ultimate
name,
Stars
man.
for the second. But
Gotcha. And was that wait? You said that was DS.
that was DS.
Okay, and I think the console one was All Stars Victory Versus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anime
Yeah, maybe.
Superstars Battle Royale.
There was a GameCube fighter, and it sucked ass, called Dawn, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, which is actually really cool. But yeah, I don't know what I would call it, honestly, because like Shonen Jump just doesn't have that kind of cachet in America. So you'd have to emphasize Dragon Ball somehow.
Dragon Ball versus
The world.
Anime Superstars.
Dragon Ball versus Jump, actually, I like remember when Sonic All Stars Racing Transformed was the name of that, even though Sonic was like 3 characters in the entire like 50 character roster.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd call it Dragon something that like
Dragon Wars
has this Dragon something dumb like that, right? Like something that has like the Dragon Ball E Dragon-ness in it, but you don't have to say that it's Dragon Ball. You just call it Dragon Warrior. No, there is a Dragon Warrior, isn't there?
It was the English name of Dragon Quest for a long
Yeah,
time.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So you can't call it that, but something along the lines of that.
Hell yeah. Bless, your last one.
All right, I have 3 here, and I'm in between all of them. Okay, well, that's not going to happen. Let's get over that one.
That's garbage. That
No,
one. Had.
I'm kind of curious. What is the one that's not going to happen?
All right, the one that's not going to happen is pretty specific, but I do. Okay, I'll say the one that's not going to happen. Naughty Dog's next new IP after The Last of Us will be a Mission Impossible style or inspired espionage heist adventure that keeps the spirit of the big budget high action set pieces of Uncharted, but mixes that with an intricate, engaging narrative, third person action gameplay, and a new main character that will act as a new face of PlayStation.
I'd like to see it.
Fuck.
Dude, I would.
Yes.
Dude,
I would love to see just like the game version of Ghost Protocol, honestly.
Yes, I feel like Naughty Dog would be the studio that could pull that off
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
than
That's a
anybody
great
else.
one.
And that's a great way to take Uncharted, but do it again
Keep
in
doing
a
that.
fresh,
And
different
you
way.
think about every time you
Wow.
played Uncharted and the stealth missions you would do there, right?
Yeah,
Whether it be
Dude,
unfair.
it was. I had this idea while playing Lost Legacy where I got to the part where I think you first meet like the big villain in the game, and I was just like, he's a Mission Impossible villain. Like he has like the attitude, the swagger, the presence of a Mission Impossible villain. Then I started thinking about it more and more, and I was like, all the Uncharted mechanics are just Mission Impossible mechanics that could work in a Mission Impossible game.
Dude.
And they have the ensemble cast there. Naughty Dog has all the skills of a studio that can make a Mission Impossible game.
I should
And
have
I'll
asked,
love.
now I want this.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and I would love for them to make their own, like, original Mission Impossible-esque story, heist, whatever you want to call it.
What would you call it?
Oh, man.
Agent.
Oh, my God. That would be like the ultimate mic drop.
Siphon
The
filter.
same logo and everything. Because Agent was a place. Oh,
Rockstar.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Exclusive, yeah.
But it was a PlayStation exclusive made by Rockstar, yeah. So they probably couldn't get that. Rockstar probably has some.
I'm
I mean,
sure
they
fuck
banned the
around.
trademark. You can do whatever the fuck you want right now.
Well, if you're a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then just
Yeah.
give it to Naughty Dog. Just reveal Agent. That'd be sick.
Jack Trenton comes on. He's like, I fucking told you guys.
That'd
You
be
didn't want to
sick.
listen, but here it is.
Next up, Bioshock Vita.
Yeah. Ken Levine, come on up here and tell us about that little device you love.
That was the one that's not going to happen.
That,
So,
yeah, that was like my dream one. The one that I think has a chance of happening. That I don't know. If, like I put the chances on it not happening, but I think it has a chance of happening. If that makes sense. A version of Dreams comes packed in with every PS5, which allows players
Yeah.
to play any creation made in Dreams. However, in order to create Dreams, you'll have to buy the full experience.
That would be a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
I was always wondering how they monetize that. That's not bad.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Is you allow people to experience it, but then people go like, "Oh snap! Like I want to make stuff. I want to be a creator."
Are you locking them out of like Artstream too, or is that up for grabs?
That's up for grabs. Yeah.
Okay.
So anything that's made playable in Dreams, you can play.
So okay. All right.
Wouldn't you feel the other way would make more sense? Like it's
can
free
create and not
to
play?
create, and
We've talked about this at length, right, of how to do this, and I hope it's a pack-in and all these things. The problem with that is that the knock against Dreams for people is I don't want to create anything. I don't want to create anything.
Yeah.
And so like if you put the create tools, I think people wouldn't even click on it. Whereas if it's just like free gaming, you know what I mean? You're done with whatever you actually want to play, but you're not ready for bed. You're like, I'll jump in and see what it is. What is it? You know what I mean? Like what? And you get to jump. You start dream surfing through really cool shit. Hopefully it goes the inspiration of like,
is that what it's called?
oh yeah,
Dream surfing, yeah.
Yeah.
There's dream surfing, there's dream shaping. But I love the idea, or not even love the idea, but I think there is the idea that with Dreams, you're kind of buying two things, right? You're buying a creation tool and also like you're buying the ability to play Dreams. And a lot of people don't want to do half of that. A lot of people don't want to create. And so I think that kind of cuts the value in half for a lot of people going in to where if you're able to just play Dreams straight up or buy like a version of Dreams that you can play, I feel like a lot more people would be into that, or at least be into the idea of trying it out if it's just playing them, right? If you don't have to feel like you have to create.
I think that idea works well if you have like kind of help wanted ads on games. Like, hey, I have needed a voice actor for this. Or, hey, are you a 3D modeler? Or are you someone that can help with Dreams? And then people will be like, yeah, I really like to actually help with that. So you have to buy the version to go help them make that game.
I can see it.
Mine's not a fun one, but
kind of funny is close.
in the same way that like this generation microtransactions and trying to figure all that stuff out, and like if anyone that like fucked it up was just destroyed on the internet. I think that next gen, starting this year, cross-platform play is going to be expected from every major third party, and that if any major game were to launch without it, it's going to be just lambasted, and like totally destroyed into a way that might ruin the game's launch.
Yeah, like an Epic Game Store exclusive kind of deal where fans are just like, how dare you do this?
Like, what are the big Doom We don't know if Doom has it. I'm assuming it does not, because like Doom has
Probably
multiplayer.
not. Doom has multiplayer, but
sorry,
it's not
to
like
be clear,
a big
I think
multiplayer game.
I'm talking about from fall on.
Okay, yeah, but I'm just thinking like the big games that are announced
Like, is
now,
the precedent already like starting to
Like,
go that way?
who does not have it? And it's like Doom does not have it. Avenger doesn't have it.
Resident Evil 3 has that multiplayer mode that I imagine doesn't have it.
Yeah. Capcom hasn't done any cross-platform stuff yet. So, yeah, nothing.
I'm
like,
talking Ubi. I'm talking
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
I
Yeah,
imagine
like the
you're
big
right.
multiplayer games.
Yeah. And then starting 2021, I think it'll be all of them, like
Yeah.
every single game.
It's weird too, because like if you're Sony and you're paying money to Activision for Call of Duty, and the marketing rights and all that stuff, do you slightly discourage them from doing cross-platform play? Like, hey, if you just lock this off, like then people who only own PlayStation have to buy it. But or do you just go like, well, this is the way the world is now, so there's nothing we can do. Like,
Did Modern Warfare have the marketing rights? Or like
Sony
the
had the
PlayStation had the
yes.
marketing rights for it? Because Modern Warfare did it, right? And
Yep.
They were the first.
that was,
major
they were
ones.
like probably the biggest one
100%.
aside from like Fortnite, if you want to count that. Like,
Oh, wow, that's a great point. I'm
yeah.
old.
yeah,
And so
It doesn't get bigger than all right. Yeah, Fortnite.
Oh,
Biggest
yeah.
face in the fucking
That other
world.
one.
Right.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our bets and predictions for the next generation of video games start soon. You know, it'll start sooner.
The post show.
Stay tuned for that, Patreon supporters. How about that? Till next week. I love you.